Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
And we are 1 second into a new week here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. G. Bush already complaining about his earpiece. And Earl, we just learned within the last 30 seconds that G. Bush was the only person in the greater Cleveland area who was unaware that Drake not only performed once in Cleveland this weekend, but he played twice. And G. Bush, you had no idea.
Bro, I had no idea because, I'm just, first of all, when I'm off, I'm untapped. I'm untapped from the whole mainframe. I ain't about to just be like.
But it's not like it was just announced that Drake and J. Cole was coming to Cleveland.
I never saw that.
Like this has been
It's
news
been a thing
for a while.
for months. Yeah.
I've never. On
It
what?
even got delayed twice.
On what?
Did it?
Yeah, he delayed
Like
the whole
everywhere.
tour.
Steve, you
didn't
knew
know
about it,
that
right?
Either.
Like, was it on Twitter?
It was on Twitter. It was on Facebook. It was on Instagram.
He Instagrammed himself in Marble Room on Friday. Like,
I didn't see that. I didn't get that. Drizzy, he was here, like he was just doing his thing.
his player put on 2 shows, sold out both nights.
Bad job out of you.
Anthony told us he moved $800 in merch on Saturday alone. 800,000, excuse me, not $800.
I'm not a really fan guy, man. I'm not a stadium type. I gotta come through, and it gotta be laser lights. It gotta be dudes doing backflips on roller skates. I gotta be entertained. I can't just see Drake out there just saying, oh.
From what I was told, Drake and J. Cole put on a pretty damn good show.
I'm not a fan of stadium concerts in general where you're just stuck in a seat. Like, if I want to sit down and listen to somebody, I could do it in my car. But
he's trying to steal somebody's girl for 2 hours on stage. Just
my question, what do you think he does on Sunday, though? So he plays a show Saturday night. Obviously, he rents out a club on, 6 afterwards, goes out, does his thing. But he doesn't play till 8 o'clock on Sunday. What does Drake's Sunday in Cleveland look like?
Go get breakfast, first and foremost.
And them dudes don't be out like that. He probably already had it set up. Sunday's a traveling day.
He played.
Yeah.
Like
He played in Cleveland, yeah.
And then he left right afterwards.
Yeah, but his show
What's he
wasn't
doing
until like
from
8 o'clock last night.
What's he doing on Sunday afternoon in Cleveland?
He didn't sleep
he's
all
smart.
day up until
You
his
think
show.
he's checking out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Man, I feel like don't nobody be going sightseeing before no shows like that, bro.
That's my point, G. So what do you think he did?
He is in that trailer or the hotel room or trying to like talk to a girl. Trying to get this girl from like Houston, Atlanta, Vegas or something to come through. Or a girl that he was there like 7 weeks. You know what? I used to know a girl that used to mess with J.R. Smith. Now I'm trying to get her to like that. That's it. He's not outside doing no cool stuff.
What do you think?
He probably went to breakfast. I'm pretty sure he was outside. I don't see that dude just sitting in a hotel 7-8 hours before a show.
He was in a museum?
That's like cabin fever. I know he went to eat. I'm pretty sure he went outside to eat.
He got some grub, but I don't see him at no art museum.
Yeah, I mean,
He's not at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That
Like,
was-
what do we like?
I think he might have got a lifting with Myles Garrett. They kind of run in the same circle.
Although,
Now,
if he did go to like the art museum or the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that's not bad. Like, I think the art museum is dope.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a lot to see. Cleveland is underrated, man. It's
You
a
gotta
lot
tell
more
me.
to. It's a lot more to do. It's a lot more to see than what people think. People just don't be looking.
It ain't Atlanta. Like, I mean, I think if he was in Atlanta, he'd go to the strip club before the show.
There's strip clubs in
You're
Cleveland.
telling me he's not going to Brook Park strip clubs?
Hell no.
You see Earl's face when you said
Come
that?
on,
Brook
man.
Park strip. Come on, bro. They in there like.
Come on, man.
You be in there like, hey, you need to keep your clothes on. You need to stop playing. You in here right out. Did you have a kid within the last 6 months? We need to give you a questionnaire too.
No comment.
Yeah. So it's going to be a crazy week on the Cleveland Sports Show. Adam the Bull's on vacation in Tampa. Did you guys see the video he sent us from his Airbnb?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bull's doing all
I
right.
didn't get that.
You're in the group
You're in
text.
the group chat.
group
What is
So-
going on today? What the hell is going on today?
So you know I'm sincere about being unplugged in. If I didn't hear about Drake or see Adam the Bull's Airbnb, I wasn't looking at nothing. That's crazy, right? I really logged
This makes me
off.
feel so much better, Ant, when we ask G to send us in answers for stuff, and then you try calling him and he just sends you right to voicemail 7 times. Like, I do actually genuinely believe G just doesn't look at his
Didn't see
phone.
it.
Just has no
If it
clue
was,
what's
if it
going on.
was
he
a battle
doesn't
rap, if it was a battle rap this weekend, I bet
G
you
would know about it,
He
yeah.
would know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did kind of find out it was a battle rap low key that was in Cleveland like a couple weeks ago. Like, but it was under. But I don't go to those either. Like, I just like
But you knew about it.
kinda, yeah, like kinda. But you gotta understand, I live in a different world. Like when I go home, like it's a different world. Like I'm married to a foreign person, so half the things that I care about that your spouse would remind you about your girlfriend or your girlfriend would remind you about, I don't get those reminders. They she what is a battle rap? What Drake? I don't know. Like she don't know. So like I don't get no reminders. So I just be in there in a time warp.
So, as I was saying, Bull's on vacation. Jay's off today. He's back later in the week, but he got an extra day off because he was in Arizona and the travel. Jason's in Indy for the NFL Combine. We'll check in with him tomorrow or Wednesday. Andrew Berry speaks to the media tomorrow at the Combine. Kevin Stefanski on Wednesday, so we'll react to that. Tyvus is back from the Buckeye Cruise. He's in tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But today you're stuck with us three. Me, G. Bush, and Earl. And if you don't like it, well, that sucks for you.
Hey, Earl, we need to protest. If y'all don't send us nowhere next year, we will listen. Either two things we're gonna play. I'm either gonna play the race card or I'm gonna fake a seizure. Either one you got to respect. Or I might do both. You better send me to something next year.
If you fake a seizure, they're definitely not going to send you anywhere. Right. Yeah. If your goal is to get sent somewhere, faking a seizure is not the right card to play.
Techno will quarantine you for 5 weeks. They say don't come back for 5 months.
Hey, when I come on the set wearing straight out of Compton gear,
Yeah, right.
you know what's up.
These guys.
We're going to talk some Cavs today. Donovan Mitchell took a public stance defending Darius Garland. They beat the Wizards. We'll talk a little bit about how the new NFL salary cap going up exponentially will impact the Browns' offseason. Also, former Browns legend Michael Dean Perry will make his UCSS debut. We're going to talk about this in overtime, but G. Bush has to leave for overtime, so I want real quick before we dive into the Cavs. 2 minutes, G, but you saw Cam Newton got in a fight with the TPS crew. I'm not even quite sure exactly what that stands for, at a 7-on-7 tournament in Atlanta. We're going to talk about it in overtime, so you get 2 minutes before we move on to the Cavs. Thoughts on someone trying to jump Cam Newton?
Man, this is just, and a lot of the stuff I say about race is tongue-in-cheek, right? Because, we just laughing. But this really gets to me, man. Like, you see Cam Newton here. These guys, and every time he goes to a camp, now this is the new cool thing, where instead of them coming and respecting what Cam Newton is, they come and talk about you ain't won nothing, you ain't did nothing. And this is not the first incident where he went somewhere and they would disrespected him, right? And I'm not sure how this thing started or whatever, but like it's just crazy in our community. It's like nuts that like somebody of his stature won a national championship, Super Bowl MVP, went to a Super Bowl, that these dudes, because they see him on the internet, they want to just pull up on him and test him and put hands on him. Like, this is crazy. Like, can you imagine that happening like Tom Brady? Can you imagine like somebody coming to a camp and just disrespecting Joe Burrow or Josh Allen? Even cats like Dan Orlovsky. Like, it would never happen. It's crazy. And it's like, instead of us being respectful, and instead of us holding our legends or holding the people that really made it out of our area, we go the opposite end of the spectrum and just be like, oh, Cam Newton here, and let's disrespect him and put hands on him. Now, the funny part about it is, the dude that he was fighting with was talking crazy and reckless before they started, and it's on Instagram. But the crazy thing is, he must have not understood Cam Newton is about big as me.
Like, superhero, yeah.
Like Cam Newton, 6'5", 250. Like, he didn't realize till he got his hands on him. He was like, oh, this is it's bad. I didn't realize he had grown man strength. Like, he was getting ragdolled out there. They had to stop him. His people, when Earl, you getting beat up when your people have to be like, stop it, leave him alone. Leave him alone. You done too much. You done too much, Joseph.
I don't know, man. That was I don't know. That's like broke boy behavior.
That's crazy.
Right? Because like broke is a mindset, not necessarily the amount of money in your pocket. And like it's kind of disturbing that every time you see somebody that come from the inner city or the hood, they try to come back and they try to do something like people that's jealous, people that really couldn't even do nothing to get out their own way, or the people that's like just out here constantly on BS, those be the people who act like that, who conduct themselves like that. People that's out here actually that got real motion, that's really out here moving, actually out here doing something with themselves, they don't have the time or the energy to even conduct themselves like that. And it's unfortunate, and stuff like that will start to deter people from, like, you know, going back to their communities and trying to do something positive, because, you know, in the black community, you always read about rappers and entertainers ending up murdered in the neighborhoods they come from, when all they was trying to do was just to give back.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit more about that in overtime. I just wanted to get G. Bush's thoughts because he has to dip for overtime. And before we get to our first topic of the day, you got to read for us.
Yeah, guys, I want to remind everybody before we get into our first topic that you can get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA teams with quick bets, live game same parlays, exclusive props, and more. You guys just have to visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and shoot your shot. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
All right, so we're going to start with the Cavs, guys, and more specifically some comments from Donovan Mitchell after the game on Darius Garland. So the Cavs beat Washington. It was an ugly game, but a win's a win. It snaps their 2-game skid to open up the second half of the season. Donovan Mitchell did play. He looked like a shell of himself, dealing with some injury. Darius Garland hit some big shots late in the fourth quarter to cut the lead in half and then tie the game. And down the stretch, they relied on Darius to be the point man in their offense. And I want to read you guys this quote here from Donovan Mitchell afterwards. Chris Fedor put the article out on Cleveland.com. Check out the full article, but this is a quote, and I'm going to read the full quote. This is part of it, but Donovan said after the game, "I'm on social media, and I feel like people aren't giving Darius the benefit of the doubt," Mitchell told Cleveland.com. "I want to speak on that because I think it's bull crap." He did not say crap. At the end of the day, he is a kid that has proven himself not only to the Cleveland fan base, but this league as well. I think they're ready to rag on a kid for what? 1/2 of a season? I think that's BS. I've been waiting to say that. Darius is continuing to find his way. It's been 2 months, and he's slowly getting back to it. At the end of the day, he's going to be there for us, understanding that come playoffs, come whenever, we need him. He knows that. He's continuing to build. We have all the confidence in the world in him, but the way people have been talking is effing ridiculous. The kid has done a lot here, so much. For it to be devalued all for a few games is complete BS. It's not fair to him. He's done so much for us as a team before I got here, while I've been here. He's going to get back to his form. The kid is just 24 years old. It's not always easy to figure it out. He's done a phenomenal job of it and will continue to get back to it come playoff time. He will be right back there with us. We have his back. End quote from Donovan Mitchell. You can read the full article in Cleveland.com. Earl, I'll start with you.
Of course.
I think
Donovan.
Everybody, why y'all both just
I'm
look
just
at
saying,
me?
Donovan coming to Darius's defense. What do you make of the comments? And
we might have put some smoke on him.
Listen.
Did we put him in the smoke on Saturday or something, Earl? That's what I think he talked about.
First and foremost, man, great leadership by Donovan Mitchell, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Another example of every athlete hears and see everything, not just Deshaun Watson. I thought Donovan Mitchell did a great job for standing up for his boy. That's his teammate. Another feather in his cap to prove like he's all in with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But with that being said, I love you, Spider, but the criticism on DG is warranted. To me, it's very well warranted. And just because people are critical of him, I don't think it means that people want to see him fail. His success is directly tied to the Cavaliers' success. For me, I'm critical of Darius Garland because I know he's talented. But it's like, I just want you to be more consistent. I just want you to assert yourself more often than not in big moments. You know, I want you to put forth the other intangibles that's necessary when you're talking about somebody that's a part of your core, right? Like, when Donovan Mitchell missed those 2 games, if I'm Darius Garland, that was my time to step up. It's gut check time, right? Like, let me show you what I'm about. Let me show you who I am. Let me assert myself, right? And sometimes I feel like people, especially here, because we love what we have, they get caught up on 2 words, max player. And if we being honest with ourselves, Darius Garland don't always play up to the level of a max player. And I get what Donovan Mitchell is saying. Like, people are, like, forgetting the things that he did before Donovan Mitchell got here. People forgetting, like, when he was an all-star. People acting like the dude can't hoop and can't ball. And I'm not one of those dudes. I'm always quick to say he's talented as ever. That's not my issue with him. My issue with Darius Garland is, man, you don't assert yourself and you're not consistent. And if you're a max player and if people don't want you to come off the bench because you're a max player, then you need to show up and show out every single night like a max player. I get it. And if everybody was saying, well, he's just getting back from injury, he missed 19 games due to injury. I think he's played like 13, 14
games
now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that number is starting to level out. Just go out there and be more consistent and assert yourself. And I don't think that's asking for too much.
G?
Shout out to Donovan Mitchell. I think, and I'm gonna be honest with you, we'll take the L for it. And it's not even no L. I came in on my Saturday show on the barbershop 8 to 12, and I said, nah, unacceptable. And I was really upset at the level they was playing the last 2 games when Donovan Mitchell wasn't there. And it's not about making or missing or anything. It's not about people in shooting slumps or coming back from rotation. I feel like when Donovan Mitchell is not there, everybody turns around and they put up no resistance. Karis LeVert, I'm glad you had a triple-double, but the night before you couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. You had 1 dunk and that was it. Darius Garland, your job is to get people acclimated and get them into the offense and do his thing. Guess what? You be turning the ball over and you dribble a whole lot when Donovan Mitchell is not there. And JB Bickerstaff, sometimes I need you to do certain things like, hey, instead of yelling at the ref on every single call, how about getting your team's face when they not playing defense, or say, guys, listen, I told you what we're trying to play. We're trying to play a certain tempo. We're trying to play a certain offense. We're not doing that right now. You guys got to get your head out of your ass and let's get it going. You never hear it. You just sit him here and he's beating up the referee's ears from start to finish. Say something to your team. For me, it's not about whether or not you lose games on coming back from a back-to-back. Man, it's about this. This organization, as I'm watching other teams play, you need to stop worried about what you think is good for you and start comparing yourself to the other people. I watch the Boston Celtics and the Knicks from bell to bell. And them Knicks in Thibodeau, these dudes had playoff rotations. I said, dang, they blitzing already? He got the playoff rotations, McNuggets. People moving around. Defensive, they got the rotation moving. They playing defense. And guess what? Brunson is a killer. He came out aggressive. And guess what? Still didn't matter. Them dudes, Jaylen Brown and Tatum and them, pushed them, wiped them off the face of the court like it wasn't nothing. And the Knicks had a good game plan. So if you telling me that we bad for getting on Darius Garland, it's not about whether Darius Garland is a young kid. 24 ain't that young. We've seen winners here before. We've seen the same thing he getting is the same smoke we gave Kyrie. This is not Utah. Sometimes, yeah, we care. And they finding out what happens when you get the Cleveland Browns magnifying glass, McNuggets. Because guess what? Darius Garland make just as much as Deshaun Watson, and you know what kind of smoke Deshaun Watson get here.
Yeah, I don't want to harp on the contract yet. I want to just focus on what Donovan said, and I think the reasoning behind what he said. To Earl's point, I think I don't want to say all of it, but I think most of the criticism of Darius Garland over the last, 3 weeks now, a month, whatever he's been back, is pretty valid. I don't think all of it is, but I think for the most part, it's fair to ask a guy of Darius's talent to be a little more consistent and aggressive, especially when Donovan Mitchell is not in the game. But what Donovan said last night, and this is why I think it's so important, is he understands that when push comes to shove come playoffs, he 100% unquestionably needs Darius Garland to be on his A game if the Cavaliers are going to go on any type of run this postseason. Do you guys disagree with that? We need the best version of Darius if the Cavs are going to make any kind of significant noise against the top teams in the East. And right now, my biggest issue with Darius is it feels like he's not confident in his own game. And he's still working back from injury. I know he's a little, I don't want to say scarred, but it looks like he's a little hesitant to draw contact after the facial fracture he suffered earlier this season. He needs to get his full confidence back to come back into the player we saw when he was an all-star point guard and one of the up-and-coming guys around the league that not just people in Cleveland, but people all across the national landscape were saying, yeah, that guy's next up in terms of the great point guards across the NBA. Darius needs his confidence back. How do you do that? Well, you make shots, and he made 2 massive three-pointers last night to cut Washington's lead from 94 to, it was 94-88. The first 3 made it 94-91. The second one tied it up. He had a couple key drives late in the game, setting up other players, which allowed the Cavs to extend their lead. And it also comes from knowing the best guy in the team has your back. And what he showed last night with those comments is, Darius, ignore the outside noise because the guys in the foxhole with you, the guys in this locker room, we believe in what you can do on the court. We believe in what you can bring to this offense, even if it may not be the perfect schematic fit. We know what you do can't be replicated by anyone else. And to have Donovan come out and say that publicly with the emphatic nature he did. He cursed. Donovan usually doesn't curse in his press conferences. Now, do you remember the 10th game of the season? He said, we're playing. That's some BS. He said the same thing to Fedor. And what happened right after that? Cavs kind of turned it around. When Donovan curses, I'm not saying a curse word is really emphatic, but when Donovan says it because he doesn't typically use that language to the media, it kind of holds a little more value.
I like
and
that.
to him to come out and defend Darius with that level of oomph, for lack of a better word, if that doesn't inject some confidence into Darius, I'm not sure what else can. So I loved it to the 10th most level, whatever the highest exponential value you could love something from Donovan. I thought it was a perfect leadership move from the Cavs' best player.
I mean, that's great. You know, I like what he said. Like, hey, if somebody says something about Earl, I'm gonna come to his defense, right? And then I'll handle it behind closed doors. Like in public, like we always say, hey, if you go and you start fighting, you automatically in the fight. I'll figure out what happened later and be like, hey, bro, you was tripping. You got us in this fight. But from the standpoint of Donovan Mitchell and how I look at the Cavs is this. Darius Garland has to figure out where he is in his offense, and I've been talking about. And that when he said his comments, he said you guys are upset of him about a half a game or a game or two. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about not only this year, we're talking last year. Like Darius Garland should understand the business nature of this, and people will get on you because guess what? He was here when they picked him over Colin Sexton, right? Mm-hmm. Colin Sexton got the same smoke. He has empty points. He dribbles too much. He takes shots. He don't be playing defense. He's just a one-trick pony. So they traded him. They got him up out of here. And now, Darius Garland got his max deal. At the end of the day, I don't care about the max deal. It's about, because any player that plays at a certain level, the way the league works, is going to get a max deal regardless, even if they live up to it or not. I get that. But my thing is, for them to win, he is going to have to step his game up. And there's Jared Allen. We talked about Jared Allen way worse.
Yeah.
Did we not?
Way worse.
And his comeback has been that much more impressive.
He's
he was
ball player right now.
And even Isaac Okoro. Last season, that was a guy that I personally said I thought was unplayable. And now I think he's a guy you can't take off the court.
They're hardened individuals now. Now Jared Allen, I'm turning on TV. Jared Allen leading the team in scoring.
3 games in a row.
3 games in a row. 22, 23. He getting 10 rebounds. And guess what? They interview him at halftime. What can you do? I got to be better on defense. No games. He's not playing games no more. Now, not saying Darius is playing games, but there has to be a mindset flip that if the Cavs are going to get to where they want to go, there are teams in this Eastern Conference that's not going to play with you come playoff time. It's just not going to happen.
I don't think it's nothing wrong with asking one of the best players on your team that is capable of being better to be better on a more consistent basis. I don't think it's nothing wrong with that. Like if that was one of us, you would challenge one of us to be better on a more consistent basis. Donovan Mitchell did the right thing. You're supposed to do that. That's what good leaders do. They come out on the forefront and they speak truth to light about what he really feels. He's clearly been seeing this for the last 3 weeks to a month. It was on his heart. It was on his chest. He got it off. Whatever conversations him and Darius Garland have behind closed doors, that's behind closed doors. But in my opinion, anybody that's in this city that's covering the Cavs, that's covering Cleveland sports media, and they have a critical take on Darius Garland, I don't think they want to see Darius Garland fail. I think everybody understands that his success is directly tied to the Cavs' overall success. I'm one of those dudes, like if I give some constructive criticism, like I'm not taking shots at you personally. Mm-hmm. I'm just giving you my opinion on how I feel. Like I want you to go out there and shut me up. I want you to go out there and be that dude who he gonna always put up numbers. Yeah. Darius Garland has always put up numbers, but to be honest, sometimes the stats are empty.
Well, it comes.
And you talked about that.
Yeah. It comes down to this. Darius is averaging 18-7 this year.
Yeah.
And what's the season? It's 18-6, 18-7. If you ask Ty Jerome, right? And I know he hasn't played this season. If Ty Jerome put up 18-6 in a game, we'd be thrilled, right? That's
Yeah.
a great game for Ty Jerome. I was talking to my buddy who works for the Mavs last night. I was like, how'd Luka do on Saturday? He's like, he had an okay game. I'm like, what's that? He's like, he had 32, 11, and 9. Well, for Luka's standards, that's an okay game. That's a career night for 99.5% of the league. Darius Garland, we expect more because we know he can deliver more. And the inconsistency part of Darius, I know he's still working back, and I'm not ready to sell my Darius stock or anything to that nature yet, but it is fair to say, Darius, we know you can play at an all-star level, especially when Donovan's out. We need you to take on a bigger role and be more assertive, be more aggressive, and it's not even the shot attempts. It's the play creation for others as well, potential assists, because the assist numbers could be deceiving. You can make 30 great passes, guys make 2 shots, you have 2 assists. But it's those potential assists, the ability to get into the paint, create for others, create good looks for not only yourself, but the George Niangs of the world, the Isaac Okuros, the Max Struses, the pick-and-roll chemistry with Mobley and Allen. That's totally fair, and I do think, to your point about consistency, Earl, the only reason we want it more from Darius is we know he has it in him. We've seen it.
The only thing, before we pivot and get to Donovan Mitchell's MVP case, the only thing I disagree with Donovan is there's a lot of people who come in from other different places, and because Cleveland has not been a winner forever or without LeBron, they have this natural thing where they feel we're some sort of charity case. And when you say, oh, he's done so much, you say that's like being the
He hasn't done anything yet.
Like what do you mean he's done so much? Like you haven't come and changed. You didn't win Rookie of the Year. You haven't went to no finals. You haven't won a playoff series. Like what is he referring to when he should have the benefit of the doubt and hasn't won anything? Like it's a lot of times that people want to think that Cleveland, well, you know what, you guys should be just happy for what you get because you guys haven't been so good. No. We've seen championships here before. We've seen our team go and play the Golden State Warriors, and we see what championship level basketball is. So, no, he hasn't done anything, and no, he's not getting the benefit of the doubt. And that goes for everybody on the team.
Including Donovan,
Including Donovan.
Yeah.
So, no, y'all ain't proved nothing. See, this is what I'm saying. You got to the second in the East. That's cool. I love it. But y'all ain't done. Finish your breakfast. Finish your food. Yeah. Finish your plate, bro.
And one more thing before we pivot to the Donovan Mitchell MVP case. Earl, we saw it last night. Caris LeVert, a near triple-double. He was 2 assists shy. George Niang had a couple threes. Max Strus, even though he didn't shoot the ball well, his chemistry with Evan Mobley down the stretch kind of was the catalyst of their fourth quarter run before Darius hit those 2 threes. How not enthusiastic, but how good was it to see a couple guys outside of the usuals step up and be the catalyst in this Cavs run, especially after what we saw from Caris the last 2 games prior, which was not good.
Yo, Caris flat out balled. I mean, Donovan Mitchell scored 16 points, and it was cool. Like, not even the fact, like, it was cool to see Jared Allen and Caris LeVert in particular kind of like be the leading scorers and kind of lead the way. 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 18 points. Like, the dude, like, his shot selection was awesome. It seemed like he picked his spots in his moments, like, very well. I thought Jared Allen did a great job taking advantage of a weak Washington Wizards front court. Like, they allow like the 3rd or 2nd most rebounds to opposing centers or something like that.
And they made it a case early to go down low to Mobley and Allen.
And so, like,
they could dominate down low.
Kudos to everybody for understanding what their opponent was and kind of like maximizing on that game plan. It was actually one of those games to where if Donovan Mitchell was going to be off and you could tell he was still ill, still dealing with whatever he's dealing with, this was the perfect opponent.
G, what did you think about Caris, Niang, Strus, and even Jared Allen to that sense, picking up the slack for the offensive?
That's what we need. That is called veteran understanding what you are. Sometimes you need to be reminded what you are. Caris LeVert, you're a guy that can get 50 in this league. I've seen you do it. George Niang, you're a guy that can get hot just like Sam Merrill. I've seen you do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for the Cavs to get where they want to go, man, and I keep just saying this, is I'm watching the other teams. I watched the entire game of the Los Angeles Lakers and the Phoenix Suns, and I saw how Grayson Allen was like, oh, I'm not going to miss. Like, you see how Bradley Beal is out, and they step up, and KD does his thing, and Nurkic just came off the bench after having a DNP almost, and then comes in and gets the first 8-10 points of the game, being aggressive down low against Anthony Davis. So when I be saying this stuff, I don't be just saying it as a vacuum of like I'm just watching the Cavs. I'm watching these other games and I'm seeing how these other teams is trying to figure it out. And the Cavs is a good place if Karis LeVert can do that and Jared Allen can consistently do that. And I'm thinking that's built in that's built in what they want to do, getting to where they want to go.
One last thing. This is the second time in as many games against this particular team that we've played down to against our opponent. Yeah. And going back to before the All-Star break, when we played Philly, and Philly was missing damn near everybody, and they beat us, the Cavs clearly have shown like they need to tighten up on some things. And Donovan Mitchell alluded to that as well. So I trust that they'll get it together. Like it's like they'll clean it up and get it right when it's time.
Luka's coming to town. Luka and Kyrie.
It's a hell of a stretch coming up. They have the Mavericks, the Knicks, and the Celtics in the next 8 days.
You're going to find out a lot.
And I believe I know the first two are at home. Dallas and New York is at home. I think Boston is home as well. I could be wrong on that. But in the next 8 days, I know they play those 3 teams. And then they got Phoenix and Minnesota coming up in 2 weeks after that. So we're going to learn a lot about these Cleveland Cavaliers in the next few days. And you got to
Boston is also at home, just so you know.
Boston is at home?
Boston is at home.
Yeah, all 3 of those are at home.
But yeah, guys, we're going to get more into Donovan Mitchell here right after this. I want to remind you all that you can get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. You guys can bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and plenty more. You guys just have to visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to shoot your shot. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
All right, guys, so the 2 games without Donovan Mitchell after the break were not good offensively for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know their point total against Orlando, 109, looked okay, but the offense looked just completely out of sync. And then against Philadelphia on Friday night, 97 points. They only shot 22 threes or 23s, whatever it was, which was way down. And in the latest NBA.com MVP ladder, Donovan Mitchell is not currently in the top 5. That goes to Jokic at 1, SGA at 2, Giannis at 3, Luka at 4, and Jason Tatum at 5. And we have a graphic of that. I did it off memory. I hope that's right, Ant. But we have the MVP ladder if you want to pull that graphic up. But I'm pretty sure that was the top 5. Donovan was 8th in the last updated MVP ladder.
Do you know who was 6 and 7?
Brunson was in there. Sabonis was in. I'm not sure the exact order. But they do top 5 and then the other guys. So regardless of who was 6, 7, and Donovan isn't the MVP favorite but right now by any means. Okay, I had that right. That was the right order. But did the 2 games he missed against Orlando and Philadelphia actually strengthen Donovan's chances of catapulting himself into that conversation, into the top 5 of the NBA's MVP race, G?
No. And I would usually say yes, but for Donovan Mitchell, where he's at right now to win the MVP, the Cavs have to do something extraordinary. They have to be like, yeah, they're in the 2 seed, but they need to win as many games as they can in order to shine light on, wow, well, let's take a look at these Cavs. Like, these guys are actually, like, really doing, they're the best team in the league right now. And for a while, they were the hottest team in the league. But when you lose 2 games in a row, you kind of get dropped back down. It's almost like being a Cinderella. Like, if you're at Mac school and you want to get in the top 25, you got to go undefeated. And you got to beat two big-time D1 Power 5 conference type people. So for the Cavs, you already look at what they did last year. People kind of wrote them off. Now you look at it this year, they're playing better. He has his best numbers of his life right now. But when you bring that list back up, I mean, SGA is crazy. Like, Tatum is playing out of his mind. Like, you know, these dudes, when I'm watching them, they playing at a different type playing field. It's like, come on, man. Jokic is killing still, averaging.
I'm not saying he should be the leader, but should he be more in that conversation than he's getting credit
for? It's tough. Like, because, look, he got the Jalen Brunson factor. So people was like, we can't put Jalen Brunson below Donovan Mitchell because he's giving them the buckets in Utah, and he came to New York and still consistently, tightens him up. So it's a perception thing. Do I think Donovan Mitchell is better than Brunson? Yes, but Brunson has the name. He got the head-to-head matchups, and he plays in New York. So we can't do anything about that.
Earl, what do you think?
I mean, to G's point, I think Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs will have to do something crazy, like overtake Boston for the 1 seed for him to even be considered. And even still, I don't think that's enough. I think in the NBA, more than any other sport, what you do in the postseason, it really matters. It really resonates with those voters and those writers more than anything else. And I think because of what the Cavs didn't do in the postseason last year, it's the reason why people might feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers is being slighted this year. It might be a reason why Donovan Mitchell was not, a starter in the All-Star game, for example, this year. So things like that, I think, play a part. But in order for him to even get top 5 consideration, the Cavs will have to do something like outside of this world, possibly like overtake Boston. Don't really see that happening. But with all that being said, you could just tell how important he is to our team. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell a difference in energy, difference in the level of focus, difference in how, like, the other players assert themselves, et cetera. Like, even we talk about, Darius Garland coming up in the clutch moment. Like, even that happened with Donovan Mitchell being present. And it just seemed like his mere presence, it elevates everybody else on that team.
And this is why your last point is why I actually disagree with both of your point, your overall point, and your overall point. The MVP in the NBA, at some point, it shouldn't take any previous playoff experience into consideration. And Jokic won 2 MVPs before he won a finals. And Giannis won an MVP, and maybe 2 before he won a finals. And LeBron won MVPs before he won the finals. I don't think you have to have postseason success to be considered at the highest echelon for NBA regular season awards, even though I do think it does play some sort of factor. I thought the 2 games without Donovan proved his value. And we obviously know how good Donovan is as a player. Like, we don't have to explain that. He's tremendous in every facet as a shot creator, as a scorer, as a playmaker, as a leader. He checks all the boxes. But when you look at pure value, look at how the Cavs offense looked against Orlando, and especially Philadelphia. They went from averaging 30. Tony Pesta on Twitter, who's a great Cavs follow if you guys don't follow him, put out the Cavs 3-point attempts per game over that 20-game stretch where they went 18-2. They're averaging nearly 35.5 threes a game. They take Donovan out, 20 and 22 were their 3-point attempts in the 2 games without Donovan. He comes back on Sunday against Washington, it's up to 35 again, right in that same range. When he's off the court, and this goes back to your Darius point, they don't have a replicable alpha dog on offense that does what Donovan does. And no disrespect to Tatum, but if you take Jason Tatum off the Boston Celtics, they still got 2 All-Stars and maybe 3 depending on how deep an All-Star roster goes. I'm not sure his value to Boston is equivalent to what Donovan's value to Cleveland is.
So
I feel you don't believe that in your heart.
No, he's not better than Jason Tatum.
But I definitely believe he believed that. So basically what you're saying is, if you took Jason Tatum off the Celtics because of everything else they have, they're still a playoff team. You take Donovan Mitchell off, they're a play-in team.
They're a 6 seed at best without Donovan Mitchell.
So here's
a 6 seed at best without Donovan.
So see, here's the argument. That's why now you're gonna have to get mad every single time when people tell you, you know what? If you take Donovan off this team, we still got Darius, we still got the unicorn, and look at the way Jared Allen is playing. Isaac Okoro's playing the best ball. Why would you not say that team that without Darius Garland would still be a top 4 or 5 seed in the East? Why wouldn't you say that?
I don't think they'd be a top 4 or 5 seed in the East.
So that means the roster is not that good then, right?
I think it's a competent, right? It's a playoff team roster. And you have Donovan Mitchell, and you go from a playoff team to a team that can win a 2, 3, potentially 4 playoff rounds.
See, here's the thing. You take Jason Tatum off, right?
They can still win 2 playoff rounds.
Okay, but here's the thing. If you took so watch this. Take Jason Tatum. This is cold. This is cold right here. You ain't gonna miss this one.
I'm scared. When he has to set up a take by saying this is cold.
This is cold. Take Jason Tatum and put him on the Cavs. Take Donovan Mitchell, put him on the Celtics. Who got the better squad?
I'm not arguing who's better. Jason Tatum's a better player than Donovan Mitchell. Like that's not my argument. My
that's
argument
the MVP.
Hey, wait. Time out. You did all that to set that up. What?
Yeah. You take.
That's as cold as taproom water, G.
Listen,
no one's arguing.
No
one's arguing that Jason Tatum's better than Donovan Mitchell. That's not the argument. But it's the MVP.
So if you're an MVP, you make everybody else better. If you're an MVP, you're going to get other guys to play above their skis. And if you're the MVP, you put them at a championship level, right? But what I'm saying is if you put Donovan Mitchell on the Celtics, they're not at a championship level.
Well, they're still damn good. I think the Boston Celtics are the deepest team in the NBA. Like, they got 7 guys who are legitimate players, like legitimate guys.
I get it, but when you talk about Jason Tatum, the dude is giving you 30. He's giving you 8.
I'm not arguing that Donovan Mitchell is better than Jason Tatum. I think Donovan Mitchell is more valuable to the Cavaliers than Jason Tatum is to the Celtics.
Oh no, come on now, stop.
What do you think about that?
Come on now.
See, you outside your mind.
Come on now. Really?
The Cavs are what? The Cavs are like what 6-5 without Donovan Mitchell this year.
I'll look it up. I
think they were 7-7 without Donovan Mitchell last year. So basically, without Donovan Mitchell and everything else, the Cavs is a teetering 500 team. So you telling me that based on the stats, since people want to throw stats at everything, they are teetering 500 team without Donovan Mitchell. They're nothing more than a play-in team. They in a play-in tournament without Spider.
See, but they're
6-4 this year without Donovan.
But
6-4. What was they last year?
I'm on my phone. I gotta go back and research.
So here for me. So what I'm asking is, you can't have it both ways. I'm sitting here, I'm confused because every single time we talk about Donovan Mitchell and the potential of him leaving, people's like, oh yeah, we still got ball players though. We still good.
No one's saying that Darius, Evan, and Jarrett suck. Like that's I don't think Earl. Correct me if I'm mischaracterizing.
I'm not saying that they suck.
No one's saying they're bad players.
I'm just saying at one point in time before Donovan Mitchell got here, people was talking about Darius Garland and Evan Mobley and Allen having enough to win the championship by themselves.
Yeah, that was ludicrous. We didn't have the show yet.
Okay.
We didn't even have Ultimate Cleveland Sports that didn't exist in pre-Donovan Cavs.
Okay.
Think about it. He got traded before last season started. That was our first year. So I can't tell you what people were saying before I got here. But anyone who was saying that the trio of Garland, Mobley, who was a rookie at that point, and Jared Allen, who I love Jared Allen, but like he's Jared Allen, was enough to win a championship. Were people really saying that?
They're like, listen, look at the progression. That's when we talking about Donovan Mitchell versus Darius Garland, and people saying Darius Garland's a max player. And you're like, okay, they need something else, bro. Like, this is not going to get it done. And it was evident when they got Donovan Mitchell. What I'm saying is, if you look at all those lists of players right there, it's hard to crack that list.
I'm just saying the difference in and we're arguing now the MVP, whether value versus better, which is one of my least favorite arguments to get to. Because
it always gets to do
it's subjective, yeah. If the award is the most valuable player, I've seen what the Cavs look like this season without Donovan Mitchell, and they are nowhere near the caliber of team they are with. Now, you could say that about every single player on that list. You could say that about every single player below him, below these 5 on the list, which includes Brunson and Sabonis and Embiid, who've fallen out of the top 5 because he can't qualify. But what's your point, Earl?
I got a question.
Shoot.
Just for both of y'all. This just came to me. Looking at these 5 players, right? No, Ant, bring that back. Or Steve, bring that back. Looking at those.
Brad Sellers, you got the Warrensville shirt. You got the Brad Sellers BTB.
Look at
Mikey, bring that back.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
All right, so looking at those 5 players, right?
Right.
Of those 5 teams, which team has sustained success the most without one of those players on their team?
The Celtics. Jaylen, if you want to talk about contracts, Jaylen Brown's the highest paid player in the NBA, which is
and he was not getting that without Tatum.
And he'll be overpassed by the next max deal that comes out because he's just the latest guy to sign the extension. And pull it back up for one more sec.
Hey, that's right player at the right time.
Same thing with Darius when he got his.
Right player at the right time.
I'll break some news right now. Evan Mobley's going to get the rookie max extension when he's up. Like, it's going to happen whether you think he's a max player or not. The Thunder, SGA is by far their best player, but they got Jalen Williams. They got Chet Holmgren.
Now listen. Now, if you take him off the squad, they're not making no playoffs.
I think they're. It's a similar situation to the Cavs. Like
they're a play-in team.
They're good, but they're not anywhere near where they are. You take Jokic off the Nuggets, that's a whole catastrophe. You take Giannis off the Bucks, they're not good this year. They
ain't even that good this year with him.
And you take Luka
off.
That's the whole team.
That's the whole squad.
My point is, I don't think Donovan should be 1, 2, 3, or 4. I think you can make the legitimate case that he's right there, if not ahead of Jason Tatum, for what 5 should be.
I think
in terms of value.
I think for me, the MVP is a popularity contest.
And that I don't disagree with.
It's a popularity contest amongst the writers. And when you look at some of these players, Jokic is 1, 2. Even if he had one of his greatest years, they're going to say, oh, we can't give him 3 in a row. You're not going to do that. SGA, they need to see whether or not that this guy can win a playoff game to put him up there. Giannis has already won 1. The guy that ain't won one is Jason Tatum, and he could arguably be. He's been first team All-NBA the last 2 years. Now here's the thing: in order for you to sneak up in that list, you got to have the national guys put you up there. And how many games are they watching at the Cavs? That actually hurt. Actually, the game, there was national TV against the 76ers.
Yeah, Mitchell didn't play.
And Mitchell didn't play, and that hurts. That was a great opportunity for him to come out on the road, and then Tyrese Maxey got that look.
And Valentine's Day against the Bulls, which they ended up winning that game. Darius hits the proverbial game winner, but they didn't play a great 48-minute contest. And I know we got to move on, so get a quick read, and we'll talk a little NFL salary cap situation, how it impacts the Browns.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that as it's Monday, which means G has the Ultimate Browns today.
Yes, he does.
Take that. G, what you doing on the Ultimate Browns today?
Hey man, we're gonna get into a lot. We're gonna get into the way too early draft free agents. We'll talk free agents a little bit. We'll talk draft, way too early draft. We also gonna get into some of the combine stuff coming up. Combine is coming up, and whether or not that's an actual thing anymore. Like, you know, are we watching the combine since we only have a second-round pick? I think that we don't be watching as closely as you used to. So we'll talk about all that good stuff. Got a good show coming up for you, and we'll do that today, 5 o'clock.
And if you missed G's conversation with Quincy Carrier on Friday's Ultimate Brown Show, it's still on YouTube. Make sure you go
check that out.
Check that out. Speaking of NFL stuff, guys, the salary cap has skyrocketed for the 2024 season. Just to put a little context and some numbers to this, and I know we got a graphic for this. It is projected to be at $255.4 million in 2024. That's the salary cap. Compare that to 2023, where it was $224.8 million. In 2022, $208.2 million. 2021, the year following COVID, was down to $182.5. In 2020, $198.2 million. So the highest projected salary cap ever in the history of the National Football League. G, I'll start with you. How does this boom in potential money to spend impact Andrew Berry's plans this offseason, the NFL as whole? But let's focus on the Browns. Does it have a positive, a negative, or no impact on how the Browns approach their offseason plans?
I'm going to start with this. Damn, I was tripping. You was right. Cavs ain't getting nothing without Donovan Mitchell, and he's more valuable if it come to it. Yeah, you was right. I will take that back.
G waited for the clip to end. Hold on. G waited for the clip to end.
I took that back.
To then retract that. I'm just saying.
I just retract that statement. I was sitting there thinking about it. I said, oh, hell no.
Steve started the clip over. Steve started the damn clip over.
All right, so guys, we're talking the NFL.
Right,
talking the NFL salary. So, in breaking news, the salary cap has skyrocketed to $255 million, the most ever. G. Bush, how does that impact the Browns' offseason plans?
Oh, so many levels. I needed that laugh.
Listen, 255 is like, man, it's like, it's kind of like getting a raise, but it's one of them raises where it's a cost of living raise and everybody get a raise, right? So it's just like minimum wage going up, right? Like, yeah, like I'm good, man. Minimum wage about to go up, but it went from $4.25 to like $7.25, and then you look around and Earl was like, yeah, I got that same raise. McNuggets was like, I got that same raise. Mm-hmm. You're like, dang, all right, well, am I really getting a raise if everybody else got a raise? And so now the Cavs have a little more wiggle room because it was already over the cap, I think $30-something million over the cap. So now it's like, yeah, we could get something if we restructure some people, but nah, like everybody else got $30 million too. So the teams that you thought like wasn't gonna have that, I think Kansas City got like $30 million they spent on people. You know, you look around at these other teams, so they're gonna have to fight it and duke it out for some of the people if they really want one of these top flight receivers. Also, you look at it like this. We seeing the fruits of the labor right now. T. Higgins just got franchise
this morning. So
like if the Bengals was thinking about not franchising him because he didn't have the money, well, guess what? They got the stimulus package. Everybody got the COVID check. This is the
yeah.
Like now, T. Higgins might be off the board. I think Mike Evans might go back to Tampa because they got a little more money. It's a gift and a curse. It's like, yeah, we got it, but do you really got it? Because you still gonna have to compete. You see what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, first and foremost, like that, you talk about pay raise and pay salaries, man. That media deal, that media revenue deal, the significance and increase of dollars, like this was a 13.6% jump in salary. That's the largest since 1994, right? And I read somewhere earlier, like in 2025, it's projected to be at 273.3. Like
that's if it keeps climbing.
If it keeps climbing, but that's the projection for next year. Still not as big as the leap as this year, but still
not $20
like they're getting crazy money. I mean, as far as how it directly impacts Andrew Berry's approach to free agency, I think it makes it better because they were already operating in the red. And according to Over the Cap, I looked at this morning. You know, this puts the Browns still they're in the red, but it's like $7.7 million.
Yep.
Somewhere around there. So you're still going to have to restructure some contracts in order for you to make some moves. But I trust Andrew Berry to be able to do that. I'm a person that believes the salary cap is a myth anyway.
There you go. There we go.
Once you find yourself with a targeted player and there's mutual interest, you'll find a way to work it out to make the money work. But to me, I mean, it can only help. You know, Andrew Berry did the right thing by rolling over money from last year's cap to this year's cap with the education of, okay, once the revenue takes off, there's going to be an increase in the salary cap anyway. So as you know, bleak as it might look on the surface, you know, with the 63.995 cap hit for Deshaun Watson and a 23 for Amari, the 23 for Myles Garrett, 23 for Denzel Ward, the 20 for Myles Garrett, you still going to have to be able to do that. But I think one of the players, we talk a lot about restructuring Deshaun Watson. Man, you can restructure Myles Garrett's deal right now and give him a brand new contract because he's earned it since he's won Defensive Player of the Year. And that'll automatically erase that $23 million cap for this year. But I would, because you're going to have to pay him new money in the next coming years anyway. So that's one way to go about that.
So a couple of things I just want to clarify what Earl said because he's right. First off, use over the cap and not SPOTRAC when you're looking at any salary cap stuff. SPOTRAC is good. Over the cap is great when it comes to this. As of this morning, the Browns are $7.58 million over the cap. That is with the new projections, and that is before the restructuring of a Watson deal happens. It's not a if, it's a when it happens. They also can restructure a number of other contracts to create plenty of cap space. So the Browns, despite what people may say on Twitter, will have plenty of money to operate this offseason to sign free agents. Now, this is why, to G's point, the influx in the salary cap ceiling helps every team in the league, but specifically helps a few teams that have owners that are willing to spend money up front. And this is why Andrew Berry, we could give him some crap on some free agent signings that have hit or miss. We can say, hey, your track record drafting wide receivers isn't stellar. One thing we can't say, this guy knows the cap inside and out, and because Jimmy Haslam's willing to spend money up front, it is the perfect pairing of how they structure deals. Now, I'm going to read off my phone here just because I want to make sure I don't mess this up because there's some numbers involved. And there's a couple of things here that I think really highlights why Andrew Berry is so smart and ahead of the curve with the rest of the NFL in doing these. So you look at all the big contracts that he's signed since he's been the GM of the Cleveland Browns. Watson, I'll use Dalvin Tomlinson as a specific example in a second. He's always banked on two things. They have lower cap hits off the top, and they avoid years on the end, which you kick the can down the road is fine. You have to pay the Pied Piper at some point. But he's banking on two things. The salary cap continuing to rise, which means $1 spent today isn't necessarily $1 spent in 5 years. Salary cap goes up, well, you give him a contract now, $1 spent today may be 60 cents down the road, and Jimmy Haslam's willing to spend it, so it keeps the Browns, their cash flow up, and it keeps them under what you may think on paper constricts you from making moves. Well, no, he's just pushing the money down the road. You keep pushing it down. Eventually, you have to pay up. But when the salary cap's so high, it doesn't kill you. And two, he knows that Jimmy is willing to do that. And this is what makes the Browns and Jimmy Haslam different than other situations. I'm going to use Dalvin Tomlinson for example. You guys ready for this? I didn't even understand it was this uncommon across the league, but this is why Jimmy Haslam, like him, hate him, he spends, and this is what helps. So Dalvin signed that 4-year, $57 million contract last year, right? 27.5 of that guaranteed. Dalvin essentially got $25 million guaranteed the day he signed. So the Browns, in essence, have paid Dalvin Tomlinson at this point close to $30 million, $25 guaranteed plus his salary from last season. Do you know what his cap hit was last year?
It was probably like $1 million or something like that.
Probably, I want to say $2 million.
So they've paid him close to $30 million, right? His cap hit last year was $4.37 million. His cap hit this year is $6.5 million. So on the books, Dalvin Tomlinson has cost the Browns $10 million so far. He's made $30. Why? Because Jimmy can spend, give guys money up front
Deep
in
pockets.
bonuses, and that's what allows the Browns to go after some free agents, where the Bengals, that's the whole issue, they don't have the cash up front. So big picture, yeah, the cap helps everybody. Cap increase helps everybody, but it specifically helps teams like the Browns, who can get creative in giving guys bonuses up front, because Jimmy has the cash and the liquidation to pay these guys and not destroy their cap hit on the
That's
back
why
end.
other owners don't like Jimmy. His pocket's deeper than theirs.
Yeah.
He playing a whole different ballpark.
And you know, you say what you want. I'm still trying to figure. Maybe it's a different age bracket. Like, people go crazy about how Jimmy Haslam is not a good owner, and they bring up the most obscure things. Like, he doesn't let Kevin Stefanski do what he wants. Who cares? He's the owner. Have you ever seen any employee do everything they want? No. You could yell at, well, he had the FBI flying pilot. I don't go to truck stops. I don't care nothing about that. The FBI should have got him and indicted him, and if they let him go, that's on them. All I care about is you gonna cut that check when we needed to get it done? Because at the end of the day, he's not playing no games on the field. Well, he had his grandchildren on the sidelines. Wouldn't it? I don't know. Last time I heard, when you're an owner, that's what they came up with the friends and family discount for.
I mean, what
Right?
you just said, like, it's funny because those are the ways that good owners and good GMs manipulate the salary cap, right? You keep the money off the books that's supposed to be off the books, so that you continue to go out here and get talent. You know, T. Higgins is off the market. I did this crazy ass list of wide receivers that the Browns should go after.
It was crazy.
Like, T. Higgins knew he wasn't going to be on the market. I really don't think
Pittman,
Mike Evans, like, as
Evans.
bad as I want Pittman, they not letting Pittman
No.
go. They got a franchise quarterback that they just drafted. As much as we need a wide receiver, I wouldn't just throw crazy free agent dollars at anybody. I get it. We need a legit number 2, but I just started to come around to this, like, man, if I can get me a legit young pass rusher to go opposite of Myles Garrett, I'm doing that. Like, you know, I think it was Friday's show. You all was like debating Brian Burns. Like, Brian Burns is that dude. That dude is him. Mm-hmm. And he's like 24, 25 years old. So you get him, you can lock him up long term and stop messing around with these 1-year deals with these, you know, second level veterans. Get you a real player. You know what I mean? That can go opposite of Myles Garrett. And if that's where you spend your cap dollars at, I would be more than happy with that.
Oh, no, they got, like... So
you still need to get a wide receiver. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying as the market starts to... Because the wide receiver market is not going to be what we think.
The pass rushers available might be
better
of
than
a
the
higher
wide
quality
receivers
than the actual receivers
that's
who
available
hit
to
the
you.
open market.
So when you say I'm not gonna spend money after anybody, just any old body, you got a face that pops in your head. Who is just any old body that you ain't trying to spend no money on?
It's hard to say, you know.
I saw, and Mary Kay put out an article over the weekend about salary cap. She's on the Hey Mary Kay, you know, her column, and she put out some projections for Gabe Davis's contract.
Okay.
Listen, the Browns do need another receiver. I don't view Gabe Davis in the same light what others think he may be valued at. And now that everyone has money, I think a lot of guys this offseason are going to get a bag that they may not have gotten because everyone has a little more money to play with.
Any old body is Gabe Davis.
I would take Gabe Davis. Like,
I mean,
I would take Gabe Davis
He's better
too.
than a lot of other options. I just
Like,
they were
just
looking at
don't
like a $55, $60 million deal
Don't come
for Gabe
around
Davis.
trying to sell me on I signed Darnell Mooney.
Oh no.
That's what I mean.
Oh
by
no.
Like, don't come around here talking about we done gave Darnell Mooney
that's Elijah.
Like a
crazy
4-year,
dollars.
$10 million.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
That's
but-
an Elijah Moore's cousin. That's his second cousin. I don't want Darnell Mooney in here.
Damn.
That's his second cousin. Like, they run around here, Minimoski. No.
So, real quick. First off, I read a phenomenal article yesterday on Sumner Sports about free agency myths. If you guys want to read it, just hit me up on Twitter. I don't have the link on me. I'll find it in my bookmarks, but I'll send it to you on Twitter. It was an awesome article. They pointed out two things. One, when I was mentioning about Andrew Berry pushing the void years in the contracts, right? Like, it can come back to bite you in the ass. The Buccaneers, even if they sign Mike Evans to a new contract,
They stole him 14.
$14 million in dead cap because they used all those void years. But guess what? Mike Evans has outlived the contract of the void. It comes back. So there are things that you're going to have to happen, and it's not always a perfect science, but I just trust Andrew Berry and the way he's manipulated the cap so far to continue to get the most maximization out of that 255 and change he can. Another thing we haven't talked about, and Earl, you kind of tried to bring this up on your Ultimate 216 show, and it was highlighted in the Sumner Sports article that, like, I'll tweet it out after the show. I'll send you guys the link. One thing it pointed out is the players who hit free agency in certain positions typically hit free agency for a reason. Now, a guy like T. Higgins
I'll give you that.
never get free agent. So one of the things that this article suggested doing, and it wasn't Browns, it was just in general, big picture ideas to free agency, is trading for veterans who are underutilized or undervalued on their current team and using your capital, whether it's draft or cap space, to take on guys like that. And an example they pointed out was DJ Moore of Chicago last year.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that was a part of a trade for the first overall pick, yada, yada, but I'm not sure what the Browns, whether it's Newsome in a second-round pick or it's someone else, what kind of package that can get you in terms of a player at a premium position. But instead of going out and overpaying for someone in free agency, I'd rather overpay in draft capital for a proven commodity on a guy I think is better than the guys in free agency. And I'm not sure what that deal is. I'm just throwing that general premise of an idea out there that I think I would be interested in the Browns
exactly
exploring.
What you said, and honestly, they articulated way better the thought that I had, because you knew exactly.
Do you know the article I'm referring to?
Yeah, but you knew exactly where I was going when I was coming up with these different scenarios. We don't know what the free agent market is going to look like. And
I'm going to tweet out that article right now.
Okay,
by the
and
way.
typically when somebody hits free agency, there's a reason. There's a significant need for a cornerback, whether a number one or a number two cornerback, for about 20 teams. And I was going through and I was reading on these teams that need a corner. And again, I know this is crazy, right? But the Detroit Lions deployed 3 corners that are god awful. They gave up like 7.3 yards per attempt, which was 3rd worst in the entire NFL. Meanwhile, we talk about we need somebody that can stretch the field, that's not a little guy. Jamison Williams is 6'1", and the dude got wheels, right? Mm-hmm. Now, why would Detroit trade him? They have no incentive to trade somebody they just drafted in the first round 2 years ago. But last season, he had 24 receptions on just 42 targets. He's being underutilized because they got Ahmad St. Brown. You got Sam Laporta. We don't know if Josh Reynolds is going to be back, but I would think he'll be back. He was their number 2 wide receiver last year. And you got a running back in Jahmyr Gibbs who can catch the football out the backfield. So this is one of those things to where one hand washes the other. I'm Detroit. I got a damn good football team. I got a damn good offense. But I know, like, I need to cover wide receivers. And I got weak cornerbacks. I don't know what this market is going to look like, right?
Talk your stuff.
But
talk your
and
stuff,
if I'm
Earl.
Andrew Berry,
Talk to him.
It's like, hold
talk
on.
to him, Earl.
Hold on,
That's
man.
what I like to hear.
Let me see if I can finesse
Yes.
you out of Jamison Williams if I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you Greg Newsome because I'm more likely to pay Martin Emerson Jr. than I am Greg Newsome anyway.
Talk to them.
So let me see if we can try to kind of like work you out a deal, and then I'll see you in the Super Bowl.
Talk to that man. Nice.
So to Earl's point, we're going to talk about this later in the week with Tyvus. I'm saving this for when Tyvus is here.
You tried to save that, and Earl got into your bag.
No. It's all fair.
When he getting that Jamison Williams back, I love that deal.
Mina Kimes put out a tweet the other day, and I like Mina. I don't know how you guys feel. I think she's really smart when it comes down to football stuff. She was like, I was going through every team in the NFL's major need this offseason. Like 20 of them, I have defensive back, cornerback as one of their top 2 major needs, which means in a vacuum, Greg Newsome's value may be one thing. It's supply and demand, G. So we're talking a Newsome for somebody potential trade if the Browns want to go that route, where Newsome's value now is increased by the fact that there just aren't that many good cover guys in the league, and teams may be willing to pay a premium price on it. So just something to keep in the back of your mind as the Browns look to either utilize free agency, the draft, a trade, all the above, to improve the overall caliber of their roster.
And Jamison, I think Jamison Williams got suspended too, didn't he?
I mean, he didn't miss time to do
part of the reason his
that.
numbers
But
were
I'm
so
just
down.
trying to
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
Oh, you're
I'm
drumming up
drumming up
interest. Yeah, you can't trust him.
I'm drumming up a narrative.
Yeah.
Maybe y'all just need to y'all need to change the scenery. It ain't working out. Golf, like he ain't get no touches. They throw the Reynolds more. They got Laporte. You might as well go get. Listen, we can't give you the 2, but we can give you Newsome in the 3 though.
Because it's not even like Jamison Williams has lived up to his potential, right? Like this dude was supposed to be the next big thing. All I'm saying is a change of scenery might do him some good.
Hey.
That's a position to where I feel like if I'm Detroit, man, I got people that can catch the football.
I like this
I
scheme.
ain't got nobody who can really cover these wide receivers.
It's crazy.
I like the idea. I don't think
It
Detroit
probably
in a million
won't
years
happen,
wouldn't do it,
but, like,
I love the premise of it.
I
Yeah.
like this is one of them joints where you're like, damn, why didn't I think of that scheme? That was a crazy, like, because Jamison Williams got first round talent. He'd been injured a little bit. They ain't getting him to rock.
Well, do you know what?
Yeah.
My big fear and why I think they want to do it is if you look in the playoffs,
He was starting to get more involved.
They force-fed Jamison Williams all the time. So, like I said, I love Earl and I love the idea. I just don't think there's any chance in the world that particular one plays out. But I do
like
think,
that
and we're
one.
going to explore some other options later in the week.
So real quick, the chances that we acquired a wide receiver that we know we need via trade or via free agency, what you think is more likely? I think it's more likely via trade.
I wouldn't hate, I think if you get a player via trade, it's probably going to be a better guy than you could sign in free agency.
I agree with that.
I agree.
So we'll see what happens. I think it's more likely free agency just because, if Ayuk was to hit the market, there are teams with first-round picks that I think you'd be able to put a more valuable package together. But at the end of the day, I think we've learned if AB's cooking up a trade, it's probably going to end up pretty well for the Browns. And I know we got our guests, so you want to do a read, we'll bring in Michael Dean Perry here.
Yeah, guys, before we bring in our guests, I want to remind you that you can get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. You guys can bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and much more. You guys just have to visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and shoot your shot. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
It's not every day we get to speak with a Browns legend, but today we are lucky because Michael Dean Perry, the Cleveland Browns legend, defensive end of all defensive linemen, is joining us here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Michael, thanks for taking some time, and how you been?
Thank you guys for having me. I've been great.
So, Michael,
No complaints.
I got to ask this to start, but we just saw Myles Garrett win Defensive Player of the Year. You are in the top 3 all times in Browns history for sacks. Myles, obviously, #1 now. What makes Myles so different, unique, and frankly unstoppable from someone who played the position and knows the ins and outs of getting to the quarterback better than any of us?
You know, there's plenty of great pass rushers. You can take Reggie White. You can take Bruce Smith, Lawrence Taylor. Everybody has their own little nick on how they get to the quarterback, how they defeat that guy in front of them. You know, mine was leverage. Myles, I think Myles' hips are so great, and he has that dip. I think that gives linemen a lot of trouble. So when I look at Myles play, that's what I see as a big advantage for him. He's able to dip that shoulder very easily and turn his hips and get around. As a matter of fact, I called the complex probably a week ago to congratulate him. I didn't have his number, but I called to congratulate him that in being NFL Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, that's a great honor. The closest I got was AFC Defensive Player of the Year. So much love to him, and he deserves it.
Yo, Mr. Perry, man, you played in Cleveland. I was born in '87. You played here 88 to '94. So I only know the stories and the tapes that my grandfathers and my uncles have shown me. But, you know, out of all the defensive tackles that's in the Hall of Fame, all of them dudes got 5 Pro Bowls. You got 6. You know, 4 times either All-Pro first or second team. You won the AFC Defensive Player of the Year your second year, and yet you in the Hall of Fame are very good. In your opinion, because your resume is crazy, what do you think is the issue with the Hall of Fame voting system?
Well, number one, I'm pretty much laid-back guy. I don't stay in the public eye. You know, I did what I had to do when I was playing. I enjoy playing. I enjoy playing in Cleveland. And, you know, if I was on the radio or doing TV, I'm pretty sure I would have been in a long time ago. And it's funny that you say that because about 4 or 5 years ago, a guy brought that to my attention. He said, I can't remember who it was, but someone wrote an article in Sports Illustrated, and they said that out of all the defensive tackles, and this is before Seymour and Bryant was inducted a couple years ago. It was before those two guys came in. And he said, you know, they did a search and said, like you just mentioned, there were, I don't know how many defensive tackles, but anyone who had 4 or more have been selected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The only guy who was not was myself. I was like, wow, I didn't realize that. So by you making that comment, I think others are talking about it. Hopefully, I'll get inducted.
I talk about this all the time. Like, I grew up, I played defensive line in college, and the crazy part about it is my dad used to take us up. We couldn't really afford to go to the Browns game, so our dad used to take us up to Berea and watch practice, and he used to always say, hey, make sure you watching Michael Dean in the middle. Watch his get off, quick as a cat. And I didn't really get it until I started like looking at my position and watching. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people don't give you the credit of what you were able to do, just being disruptive in the backfield. Just the other night, I was watching a game. I'll be watching a lot of old school games. I was watching, I believe it was 1992, the Miami Dolphins versus the Cleveland Browns at Cleveland Browns Stadium. They talked about it, how you was hurt in that Monday night game, and then you weren't going to be in that game. And I remember the first 4 or 5 plays, they handing the ball off. I'm like, if Michael Dean was in there, they wouldn't be getting that off. And I'm like, that's 30, 40 years ago, G. Bush. But that's how and Dan Dierdorf was talking about how, the Browns defense, you got Clay Matthews, but the guy inside, the superstar, is Michael Dean Perry. Do you think just because of the fact that you played in Cleveland and maybe you didn't play in a big city, that people just don't give you the credit you deserve?
To be honest, I don't know what the reasons are. Like I said before, when you talk about my accomplishments, it really shouldn't matter if you played in a big market, media market area, whether it's New York or California or whatever. The mere fact that your performance on the field speaks for itself, that's all it should matter, plain and simple. So when the individuals who are supposed to vote on individuals who made an impact in this game, regardless of where you played, they should see that individual and say, hey, you know what, this guy is deserving. So to answer your questions, maybe not, I don't know. But in my humble opinion, if you produced on the field, if you were a great player on the field, you should be recognized. That's my take.
We'll get the Michael Dean Perry to the Hall of Fame campaign getting underway again. We got you. Don't worry on that. But in doing some research for this interview, I found that you had a picturesque, perfectly clean resume, except you got kicked out of practice once. And I was curious, what could you have done to get kicked out of practice just once in your career?
You're talking about at Clemson, I take it.
I believe that's what I was referring to, but I couldn't figure out exactly what the reasoning behind that was.
Okay, I'll tell you, it was a spring game, spring practice. It was my senior season. So that had to be the spring of '88.
Uh-huh.
And we were doing number 1 offense, number 1 defense at the time.
Yep.
And I think the first 6 or 7 plays, they ran. I might have had 2 or 3 sacks, tackles for a loss. And so Coach Ford yelled at me. And think about this guy. He's yelling at me. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Did I jump off sides? I'm in trouble. What happened? And he yelled, Michael, and he has a very high-pitched voice. And he would yell, Michael, get the hell out of there. I was like, okay, what did I do? I can't get nothing done. So he kicked me out of practice. And, people still talk about that story because if you know Coach Ford, he was a very tough individual, and it took a lot for you to get kicked out of practice. And that was one of the things that, matter of fact, he tells that story as well. He said that's one of the guys that I had to kick out of practice because I could get nothing done. I think the biggest compliment, it's funny that you asked me that because the biggest compliment that I ever got was a scout from the Chicago Bears. When he came and he was looking at other players, and he said, Michael Dean, you are just as good or better than some of the guys that we have on our front now. I'm like, yeah, okay, right. You blowing smoke because my brother is up there, so you just being nice. But sure enough, I ended up having a pretty good career. And I saw him in Denver when I played in Denver. back in 96, 97. He said, "What did I tell you?" I said, "Yes, you did tell me that, but that just goes to show you. Honestly, I didn't think I was good enough to play on the next level, guys.
Really?
That's crazy.
So
I did not. I did not think I was good enough to play on the next level."
So when did it click then? Was it that practice when Coach kicked you out for destroying the game
well,
plan, or when did it click?
Yeah, yeah, that was one of the instances. And then another time, as a sophomore, they moved me from defensive end to outside linebacker. And in training camp, I broke my leg. And so Coach Ford came up to me. He said, "Oh, Michael, it's a good thing it wasn't that big bone because you wouldn't make that big money." And I'm like, huh? What is he talking about? Yeah, so that's when it clicked. Okay, I must be pretty decent. And that's when it, started thinking, okay, I have a chance to play on the next level.
That's awesome.
So
starting out, I didn't think I was good enough.
So speaking of former Clemson Tigers and Cleveland Browns, there's a former Clemson Tiger by the name of Deshaun Watson, who was once deemed the Michael Jordan. His coach once called him the Michael Jordan of football. From one Clemson Tiger. Mm-hmm. Talk about Deshaun Watson. Do you believe that he can return to that quote-unquote Michael Jordan of football form that he once had?
Absolutely. You hear it a lot in golf about individuals, and the biggest example probably is Tiger Woods. This game is played between the ears, and when Deshaun can block out all the external stuff that is going on and just focus on football, getting his mind right, getting his body right, there's no doubt in my mind that Deshaun Watson can be that player that he once was, and everybody's looking forward to seeing. There's no doubt in my mind he can't get back to that level.
I got a follow-up before G go because, Mr. Perry, we ask a lot of players, a lot of athletes, current and former athletes, these questions, and it seems like most former players or current players believe that he can get back to that. Meanwhile, people like in the media, like myself or fans, they say no. So, what is it that former athletes see, with that third eye that we don't see that truly make you all believe that?
Let me tell you something. You guys can look at an average player, and he's going up against Pro Bowlers, all pros, and you say, "Oh, that guy, he's not very good." But let me tell you guys something. We may play very well, and we may dominate, or we may get the best of that guy, but believe me, that guy is still a pretty good damn athlete. Mm-hmm. Even though that, he's playing against some of the best athletes that ever played the game, mm-hmm. Still yet you can't discount that guy and say, "Oh, that guy's garbage, that guy's this, that guy's that." There's a reason why Deshaun Watson was drafted the way he was drafted, when he was drafted, and also the contract that he got. It was a reason why. That's because of the level of play. So he's not at an age where he cannot get it back. Now, if he was, 37, 38, I would say, yeah, probably time has passed him up. But clearly not. So if he can just focus on playing the game of football, focus on himself and getting, back to that level, I think he will be fine. Yeah, so that's what I see. As an athlete to another athlete, unless he's hurt or he's old, you always have that hope that guy can get back to that place where he was once dominant. Now, saying that, that's why I don't think a Tiger Woods can ever reclaim that status that he once had, because of what? Physically, he's not able to do it. No matter how much he tries, his body has broken down. That's why. That's the difference. That's
a great point, Michael Dean. There's a lot of people who feel that he can't get to where he wants to get back to. I feel given healthy and having a whole year, I think he could put up some numbers. Now let me ask you this. Now there's a guy that you played football with. My man, I said, I wanted to get somebody on the show. I reached out and my man Leroy Horace said, "Listen, when you get Michael Dean on, you ask him about this time that you actually had a little run-in with Bill Belichick. And you guys were supposed to be in pads, but Michael Dean Perry, being the big dog, you put an end to that. How did that go down? How did you just pull rank on Bill Belichick like that? How did that go down?
Well, Leroy need to keep his mouth closed. Anyway,
that's impossible. We have Leroy on every week, and we learn like that's an impossible task.
And listen, guys, yeah, exactly, very impossible. So let me tell you what happened. I can't take all the credit. That was the same year that Jerry Ball and I played together in Cleveland. You remember that?
Yep, he told me he played. I interviewed him about a week ago. Yep.
Right. So Jerry and I were in Cleveland, of course, at the same time, and we're going to the training room, get taped, get ready for practice. So they'll give you the schedule right before you go out. Well, not right before, maybe a couple hours before, and let you know what we're going to be doing. So Jerry came to me. He said, Michael Dean, do you see this? I'm like, what? He said, Belichick has us in full pads. I said, no, you got to be kidding me. Because it was a Monday night game, if you guys remember.
Uh-huh.
And so we already had a few days in pads. And we was like, man, our bodies were just like sore and beat up. And so I told Jerry, I said, Jerry, listen, man, nobody's going to go out this locker room in full pads. We're going to be in shorts and shoulder pads. So Jerry stood on one side of the door, and I stood on the other. So Mike Johnson, Clay Matthews, at that time, Benny Testaverde, so they was trying to get out the door with their full pads on. And Jerry and I was like, no, you got to take them off. We going shorts and shoulder pads. So Bill came up to me. He said, y'all better damn win. And of course we did, but that was the end of the subject.
That's awesome.
Go put the pants off.
That's a good what's that?
Do you have a Leroy story that we can bust his balls about? Because Leroy comes on every week, like we said, and he always gives us ammo on everyone else. But
wait a minute. Why do you guys have? Wait a minute. Huh?
Leroy was talking regularly
every week.
Oh my God! You know what? You guys have to find better guys to have on the show every week. Okay. Don't have Leroy. I'm just telling you guys, don't have Leroy. No, I'm just kidding. Leroy is a great teammate. He was a great player. I don't have many stories about Leroy. I mean, he was pretty much to himself. He did what he had to do. He was a good teammate. So I don't have any stories you can bust his butt about.
Gotcha.
But give me some time. I can't think of anything right now, but it's not to say that later on I'll remember something.
Now listen, Michael Dean, we got Bernie on every week too. See, we got
BK.
Do you got a Bernie story?
You know what my story concerning Bernie? You know what I always said?
What?
I said if I played against Bernie every week, I have 30 sacks a year. I said to myself, I wish I could play against Bernie Kosar because he doesn't move. He's back there like the Statue of Liberty. He doesn't move. I say, man, I would have about 30 sacks a year if I played against Bernie, every game. But anyway, no, Bernie was he's another good teammate, great guy. I have nothing, no stories. I know that, wait a minute, I back up. I digress. So we were at practice. Bill, I think it was his first year in Cleveland. And so we're in practice, right? And Bill was just, Bill, he was just irate to the point of he just all on everybody. And so Bernie tells Bill, he said, lighten up, go get you some.
And what did Bill say?
So Bill had this look like, boy, if I could strangle you right now, I would. But anyway, that was ask Bernie about that one. He'll tell you. It was funny.
I got two quick ones here for you, Michael. First, one of the I would say weirdest anomalies of the entire NFL this season was how good the Browns defense was at home and how much they struggled at certain aspects on the road. Can you put a finger on any idea why that may have been the case? It could just be simply the quarterbacks they played and the quality of teams they played at home versus the road. But from your playing days, is there anything you could take away from why one team would be so good in front of their home crowd and just nowhere near that same level
Average.
on the road, or just aberration?
Yeah. You have an advantage, of course, when you're on defense at home because you got to deal with the crowd. And I tell people all the time is that I love playing in Cleveland Stadium because when the fans got behind you, I mean, when we were really playing, I mean, it was tough for offenses to audible, to hit a snap count. So that's the big advantage. But here again, when you talk about championship teams, I've never experienced that. Closest I came was AFC Championship game. But those are the teams that play well on the road as well as at home. And Cleveland can be that team. I mean, they have the players in place, a couple of players here and there. I heard you guys talk about a wide receiver here and there, which would help. So, yes, we're close, no doubt about it. But in order to be that elite team to go to the next level, then you have to be consistent and play ball like you play at home. And, I don't know it should be that big a difference from home to playing at home and then playing away. I think it's the mental. When you get there, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
It's one of those aberrations. And
I wish I did. Wish I did, but because it didn't matter to me. I can only speak about myself and when I played. It didn't matter to me if I played in Cleveland, which I enjoyed playing, or I played in Houston, or I played in Denver. It didn't matter. I was going to come out and give you 110% every single game. So, that's a head scratcher for me. I wish I had a better answer, but I don't.
Hey, we're looking for the same answer too, so it's not just you. When you look at your resume, though, Michael, you have 3 All-Pro teams on it, 6 Pro Bowls, but maybe the most impressive thing that you've done is McDonald's named a cheeseburger after you, the MVP.
Yeah.
Is that? I mean, there it is right there, the triple cheeseburger with bacon. That has to be the crowning achievement of any player or any person's career. It doesn't get better than that.
No, it really doesn't, and it tastes pretty good too. I think I got that commercial by default. But yes, that was a wonderful time to be recognized like that and to have a burger named after you. I mean, not many people can say that. So yes, that's one of the great moments, great times.
So, Mr. Perry, man, I'm from
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Asked me to do that.
I'm from here. I'm born and raised here, right? And I know predominantly now a lot of athletes, they stay on the west side. So, like, late 80s, early 90s, if you played for the Browns, like, was you an east sider or on the west side?
I was a west sider. I stayed in Westlake, right off of I'm sorry, I apologize. I stayed right off
Don't apologize.
Crocker Bassett Road, exit Interstate 90. Crocker Bassett Road.
Yep.
I stayed out there. I think Bernie stayed out there. Kevin Mack. Who else was around there? I want to say Webster Slaughter. He was close. Yeah, same development. So we had 4 or 5. Anthony Pleasant. We had a number of guys stay in Westlake area.
Don't nobody stay.
Don't hold that against us. Don't hold that against us.
Hey, touche, man.
Now this is, this is
Go ahead.
This is crazy. You gotta bring it up. Like, when did you? Because this is me and my brother. We got to play with each other in college. So I played defensive line. He played offensive line. What was it like seeing your brother go like from he was a guy that was a defensive tackle to, becoming a superstar overnight by like when we was growing up, I was too big to run the football. But when Refrigerator Perry got to run the ball in the Super Bowl, it changed all the big boys' lives. It changed my life because it was hope. It was hope that one day my coach was going to throw me back there and get it in. Did you ever want to get the football in Cleveland because you saw your brother doing it? Like, how was that?
No, I never did. That's one of the things that Dicker came up with, and it worked out for him. So kudos to him, and I was glad to see him do as well as he did. But I will tell you this: one big guy to another. You know what that did for us?
What was that?
Huh? It brought sexy back to big people.
Because Fridge was like, hey, back then, Fridge was, when you say 85 Bears, they like, oh, that's the Fridge. He was probably getting,
Yeah, that's right.
he was, the ladies must have loved him back then. That was just.
Hey, and you know what? You know what's so amazing when we go and do autograph signings? It's like 1985 never stopped for him. You know, you would think the Bears won the Super Bowl last year. It's amazing.
It just keep going. It won't stop. You be looking at him
Yes.
like, you know you ain't in playing shape no more.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Michael Dean, we really appreciate you joining us today on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Anytime you want to come back, we'd love to have you. The stories and insight was phenomenal. Best of luck with whatever you're doing moving forward, and we really appreciate you taking a few minutes out of the day.
We gotta we'll give you 3 of Leroy's days, 2.5 of Leroy's days.
That sounds good to me, but listen, I'm not going to forget you guys. When I remember a Leroy story, I'll call you guys up and let you know.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Michael. Really appreciate
Hey,
it.
nice talking with you guys. Take care of yourself.
Day.
Okay, you too.
Michael Dean Perry.
Yo, I love talking to OGs, man.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. That's one of those people, like, you meet them at a cigar lounge, you get you a nice Cohiba, and you just sit back and enjoy story time.
You got to think about it. Like, I grew up, and these guys used to, I got all the posters, right? So for me, I'm like, man, listen, I interviewed Michael Dean Perry. My dad be like, man, that's crazy. You growing up from watching him on TV saying, watch this dude in your position. So you get it. It's just cool.
And he's one of 12 kids, by the way. Like, he's the youngest of 12. William was the 10th youngest. Like, I don't even maybe bad job out of us for not asking about the other 10. But if that's 2 of the 12,
can you imagine?
You got a whole offense.
Can you
or
imagine?
Defense.
Can you imagine the fights at the crib?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's.
I'm like Gito. Like, I was born in '87, and my grandfather and my father has always told me the stories about Michael Dean Perry. Like, a lot of people talk about Clay Matthews, but he'll say, man, people never talk about Michael Dean Perry enough. How, like, you know, he said, you know, he was the equivalent of, like, what you see a superior defensive tackle. I think he used Warren Sapp at said time. He said, you see Warren Sapp now? He said, that was Warren Sapp before Warren Sapp. So, like, straight, man, shout out to him. Like, he looked good, too.
He did look good. Great speaker. Would love to have him back on. Did you see what – and will you pull up the cheeseburger tag board again real quick? I noticed something on this, Earl. I'm dying to know if you noticed this, too. What do you notice about that ad? Triple cheeseburger with bacon. $1.99.
Yeah.
I heard talk about how inflated prices that fast food are.
Man.
You can't get a regular cheeseburger now for $1.
And I bet you he got it in record time. I bet you he went to the drive-thru, he got it for $1.99, and he got it in less than 2 minutes. You go to the drive-thru today, you sit there 10 minutes before they even take your damn order, and then you're going to sit there another 5 minutes before they take your damn money, and then they're going to give you your food, and your fries probably damn cold. They gave you 2 napkins, no straw, no ketchup.
Dang, Earl, you trickered? That's crazy.
Listen, it's one of the things Earl has been passionate about since the day I've met him, is how bad the fast food industry has gotten.
Like, why do you call it fast food if you're not going to actually, like stick to the stuff? Yeah. Like, come on now.
I actually think that $1.99 might have been for the meal. Because you saw it included.
It might have been for the meal.
And pull it back up.
They had a Coke up there. So
I can't see the tiny font next to it.
But it's crazy.
No, the $1.99 says only $1.99 plus tax, sandwich only.
Oh, okay. So they were still getting money. $1.99 is still kind of expensive back then, though.
For a triple cheeseburger with bacon, though?
I mean, double cheeseburgers used to be 99 cents, remember? We was growing up, double cheeseburgers 99. Apple pies is $1. And don't go to the Wendy's.
Ain't no dollar menu no more.
Ain't no dollar menu no more.
That was the whole best part of it.
Wendy's dollar menu was just you could go in there and get your money.
People don't even know, man. Wendy's, like a meal out at Wendy's and a meal at Longhorn cost the same these days.
Don't go to Arby's. They're still paying Ving Rhames to say we have the meat. You paying Ving Rhames all that money? A regular roast beef sandwich is like $5.60. No curly fries.
No
cheese.
I know, Aunt, you're trying to move on, but listen, Mom probably know about this too. Like, I went to Collinwood, so McDonald's was right across the street. Like, I lived off the dollar menu. You know what I'm saying? $5 went a long way.
You had dessert. You could get the small drink. You could get McChickens was $1.
The McChicken.
You could get the McChicken. You could get the double cheeseburger. Then they turned them into the McDoubles, which didn't have 2 pieces of cheese on it. Then they just got rid of the pie. They was like, you know what? Sorry, we're not gonna. And
Do
remember,
you guys want to know how much a Dave's triple from Wendy's right now is? Does not have bacon on it, just 3 patties and some.
$9.86.
Is it a meal or just a sandwich?
Just the sandwich, according to DoorDash.
Probably like $10.
$9.89 something.
$9.61.
What?
Absurd.
Yeah.
You talk about the salary cap inflation?
Yes.
That's a triple cheeseburger inflation.
That's-
We really
Hey,
haven't
put a
talked about
franchise tag on that.
it. Yeah, I would franchise tag.
I'm
that
franchise
MVP.
tagging that.
I don't know
Wendy's
how.
burgers aren't good enough for a franchise tag.
I don't know how y'all date. Listen, I got out of the dating pool before I met my wife. I was going on these dates, and I was appalled at the level of how much money did it cost to go out to eat. And I was appalled that I was like, you lied on your pictures. I would have not taken you to a sit down. You lied.
You talking about-
you used
you
Photoshop,
talking
and I
about-
don't want to pay for your meal.
Hey, you talking about y'all date? I got kids.
Gee, I took myself. I took
talking about- y'all
myself
talking about
to
dating.
Barrio,
That's cute.
and it was
I got kids.
$75.
I have kids.
Self at Barrio?
So I took myself to Barrio, and it was $75.
Did you get hammered?
I had 3 margaritas and 5 tacos, so not really, but
I would listen for that price. I would have roofied myself. I would have been like, "Yeah, take
Man, what is
advantage.
going on?
Take advantage of me.
And
I
give
am
us
so
a read.
vulnerable."
Give us a
Pineapple.
read. Give us a
all
read.
right. Moving on from that, I want to remind you guys one last time that you can
Pineapples.
get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel,
Oh, Lord.
America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. You guys can bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and much more. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to shoot your shot. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
We haven't had a winning ticket in a couple weeks now, and that was
struggling.
because that was All-Star break, so there was no games, and then the Cavs lost a couple, so we need to get some winning tickets back.
Oh,
So
oh,
if you have-
oh,
Wait, hold up. I got to give my boy some love. I'll probably clip this off and I'll show him later. Shout out to my homie, man, Slim Bull, my man Rick. My man hit a 25-leg parlay yesterday.
How much he hit?
Here, take. I'm not joking. Pass that to him. 25-leg parlay.
Oh, he cooking. He cooking.
A 25-leg parlay, he bet $12.90, and he has a $616.41 profit on a 25-game say-leg parlay. That's crazy.
Hey,
That's a hell of a
listen.
win.
Hey, look.
That's a hell of a win.
Hey, G.
What's his
Bush-
name?
Rick.
Well,
He go
Rick,
by
send in
Slim
your
Bull.
tickets so we can show it on the tag board for FanDuel's official official connection.
Yeah, I won $56 yesterday.
I know that's not enough, G.
Yeah, I know.
Not enough.
I know.
But I respect it. Good for you. All right. The question that
Shut my
Anthony
little 56 down, huh?
posed to us was, gee, in Summer League we talked about Amani Bates and Craig Porter. Got all excited about those two. In the preseason of the NFL, it was Austin Watkins season. It was DTR. And then it's spring training, and it's just like it's spring training. Why doesn't spring training hit the same way that preseason action in the NBA and the NFL do?
Because you have an older fan base.
I didn't think of it like that.
Your fan base in baseball, like the average, look, my dad, he's mad at the Indians all the time or the Guardians.
Is that why he mad at the Guardians?
Huh?
Is that why he's mad at the Guardians?
No, he care less.
Oh.
And he said because there's a 15% Indian rate in our family on my mom's side that he will continue to wear Indians gear too. He said I could get that off. I said it's fine, Dad. But he was like, yeah, man, he be mad at him, but he listens to all the games. He's one of them weird dudes that want to listen to it on the radio and watch it on the TV. Him and my mom and be there having dates, watching the Guardians. I'm like, this is terrible. On spring training, this is not cool. They're old. They old school. They grew up around that. They only had they only got certain multimedia around them. Like they don't have no internet around. They still don't know how to really use the internet like that. But think about it. It's Jay, it's Bull, my mom and dad. Mm-hmm. These dudes is like.
So you can't get into it yourself.
I can get into it, but they don't play my brand of baseball. They don't play the brand of baseball I like. I like doubles and home runs and lots of strikeouts. If you strike out, who cares? You hit a 3-run bomb, we good. I like teams with edge, flair, style. I like uniforms to watch them. I like giveaways at the ballpark. I need excitement around my team. The Guardians don't do much to excite. They don't even do much to excite the fans.
I mean, I think it's for a lot of the same reasons. Like, baseball's dominant fan base is older, and unfortunately, it's a dying breed, right? You know what I mean? And then, like, locally here, you got people who are pissed off for a lot of different reasons. People feel like the Dolans don't spend money, so there's no reason to get excited. You got people who are frustrated because they changed the name of the team, so they don't even follow the team no more. You got people, we talked about, you know, the Bally's part of it, who financially can't afford to watch the team, so they've lost interest overall. I think there's a lot of different reasons why excitement for baseball is down. I know for me, like, you know, baseball overall is just not one of my favorite sports. Like, if I'm being totally honest, it's just not one of my favorite sports.
That's part of it, too.
And even when the Guardians, like, if the Guardians was good, if they had, like, players that I really knew, I would probably be more interested than what I am now. I remember a couple years ago.
You did the postseason shows with Bull. Well, they were good because you get into it and it's exciting.
You get into it and a lot more.
That was the fun. I'm not gonna lie. That was fun as hell. Postseason, post games was the funnest I had, and it was a baseball post game. It was me and Earl. We was doing them. We was watching the whole game. We was talking
like,
at the seventh, eighth inning.
I enjoy baseball. Like, I enjoy watching the Guardians play. I enjoy going to the Guardians games. I think that they got out of the three teams, their fan experience in person is the best of the three teams. That's just my personal opinion. Like, football games in person, I absolutely hate.
Cavs do a really good job.
Cavs do a really good job, but it's like, man, a baseball game in the summer outside, beautiful ballpark. We went
this last year.
Man, we went to like a bunch of games. So it's like, to me, I just need these dudes, like, to come out and hopefully this young talent can, like, hit the ground running and give me a reason to be excited, but I have no reason to do so right now.
So what you just said is my biggest gripe with this particular collection of spring training issues with the Guardians. So I turned on the game yesterday while I was waiting for the Cavs, right? In the lineup yesterday, they had Chase DeLauder, who's probably their best overall hitting prospect, Kyle Manzardo, who we've talked about. He'll be at the MLB level at some point. And then they have this guy named Angel Martinez, who had an absolute freaking bomb yesterday, a switch-hitting 20-year-old middle infielder. When you watch Summer League, we could get excited about Amani, and Craig Porter Jr. was awesome, and Luke Travers and all those guys. But we knew they weren't going to have, like, major roles on the team because at this point they're not better than Donovan Mitchell or Darius. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have expectations. And you watch the NFL preseason, and DTR was awesome, right? But DTR wasn't battling Deshaun Watson for the starting quarterback position. Austin Watkins, I think we all think maybe should have got a bigger shot to show what he can do. Yep. But it was like he was taking him on a Cooper spot, right?
DeJuan Jones.
Well, I watched spring training, and I'm not going to pretend to tell you guys I know the ins and outs of baseball like I do basketball or football, but DeLauder looks like he could hit on the MLB level. And Manzardo had 2 hits yesterday, and Martinez hits this bomb. And I'm like, I want to see these guys come April when it matters, not in Arizona, in Goodyear. And the reality of the situation is DeLauder's probably not going to be on the MLB level till later this year, if at all. Manzardo's going to start in AAA and probably won't be with the team till May. Just how April or May, that's how the Guardians work. And Martinez, they have like 73 other prospects at the middle infield positions that are ahead of him on the depth chart. He might not be here for 2-3 years, so it's just frustrating when I see these little tidbits. I'm like, oh, that guy looks good. I'm going to forget about him, and he'll come back in my life in 3 years. So it's just hard for me to get as locked in, focused, and engaged on spring training baseball just because I have no idea when it's going to pay dividends down the road.
Look, man, here's the thing. They play a lot of – in baseball, there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of – you know, we hear things about clubhouse and – he's a great guy in the clubhouse, and, you know, guys really missed him because he just, everything is, I might listen, brother, nobody care about that. Like, if we want to see these prospects, that's another problem with them. It's, you got these guys, and we hear about them all year. We hear about them, this guy's doing something great, this guy's really doing, he's not going to be up here, he's a little ways. Stop telling me that. If you're a World Series team, then you got an excuse not to play young guys. If you're a perennial division leader and you got guys that are Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and they can't get Isaiah Mobley or they can't get Imani Bates no time, we not going to knock you. But if you running around here looking like a squad that, let me see who's garbage in the NBA, they don't have nobody. No.
The Wizards.
You the Wizards. You can't, Imani Bates is playing for the Wizards.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what it is. But for the Guardians, it's like they're not having those guys develop. We're not seeing enough of those younger guys. And it doesn't give you anybody to latch onto as a fan. Like, we want to see people grow and progress and say, yo, like, just like this show, right? It's the summertime. We put new people on. You get to hear McNuggets more. You get to hear Earl more. You know, Anthony get to do his thing. Like, people like, oh, I like that, man. This is something different. Like, you can latch on to a person and say, man, he done really developed and did his thing. And these Guardians be having these old vets in there taking up at bats, and they batting 105, and then be like, why aren't you guys coming? Well, I want to see that.
We're going to see more young guys in the Guardians lineup this year, and hopefully they take the necessary steps forward to have a competent offense. And I think the problem is, their division sucks so much in totality that they could be average and still be right in the thick of the playoff hunt. So there's no point in totally bottoming out. And they're kind of stuck in this baseball limbo. They're not good enough to win big. They're not bad enough to be terrible. And because the division's just overall not very good, I mean, the White Sox, Twins, Tigers, and Royals outside of Cleveland, like, if any team wins 90 games, I think it'd be a surprise. So they're like, well, we could kind of teeter the line here. But being in limbo, in my opinion, just in general, not just baseball, is the worst thing you could do in sports.
So I'm looking at the chat, and based on, like, the chat, if the Guardians players actually stayed on the east side, we would be excited because we would know for a fact they'd be good because the east side is the best side.
Let me ask you this question, Earl.
I'm not apologizing for the West Side. I'm an only representative at this point.
Whoa, hey.
Oh, you're technically on the West Side.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, does downtown count east side or west side?
I don't know, Earl. He's on the west side of downtown. You want to give him that for the bank?
Well, right now we're on the east side of downtown. So
Let me ask you about
Sorry,
the
Mike.
outreach.
We don't count.
Sure.
Like, one thing that I always thought would be great, and we talk about it, how to engage more than one, you know, more diversity in baseball and cultivating the next group of people coming up to be fans of baseball. I always thought it would be really cool if, you know, they got, you know, middle school, elementary school, high school game where they go and they make it easy for kids to get down to the park and just watch the game. They say, listen, we're going to get you guys this high school game every single day. We're going to highlight this is our high school team that's here. And you give an opportunity, maybe send the buses to the school, bus them from there and back so they don't got to worry about getting on the bus or nothing. And just get inner city kids, other kids here, and cultivate that type relationship and just to get them to endear themselves to baseball. Like if there was a thing where, you know, kids in the inner city knew, hey, I could come down on this day to watch the Guardians play. It's going to be free. My mom could drop me off at the school, bus me here. We get free concession, we get snacks, and put them in a position to watch the game. I think that can develop another generation of players.
I know. I was a young black kid that grew up playing baseball, that loved baseball. Baseball was probably my first love. I watched the Indians every single time they was on TV. I can remember mid-90s watching a home run race with Sammy Sosa, Luis Gonzalez, and Mark McGwire. I think, I don't want to get the numbers wrong, but me, Steve, and Mike actually had a conversation. It's like less than 4% of...
I think it was 6%, but it's something astronomically low.
Low number of black baseball players across Major League Baseball.
And the Guardians might have the most.
And the Guardians might have the most players of color on their team. I think that economics and, you know, all these paid travel leagues and things like that, like, if you in the inner city and you from the hood, man, your mama and your daddy might not can afford to send you on the travel league.
Yeah.
I think that something needs to be done. That's a good idea, but the interest will be there if, you know, it was put more out in front of people. Like, it's funny because a lot of kids want to grow up and they want to play in the NFL because it's cool. But if they actually knew and understood, like, man, my son needs to be going to play baseball. He going to have a longer career.
Money.
He gonna make more money, and post-career, he more often than not, his mind is gonna be in the right shape. So
right, think about that.
It's
people
like
signing their kids up to get
we do stuff
concussions.
that's like it's cool, like, you know what I'm saying.
I mean,
the chicks dug it, the chicks dig it.
But look
like,
at Kyler Murray.
Swagged out.
Kyler Murray had the best of both worlds.
He opted out.
Top 10 pick by the A's in the MLB draft and the number 1 overall pick in football. The guaranteed money he could have made playing baseball if he had gotten one contract would have outweighed what he'll probably get in this, or he got. What, 240? It was just under Deshaun's contract, but the guarantee was way lower. But Shohei Ohtani just signed a $700 million contract. We have guys coming from Japan, two different Japanese players, and I don't know their names, I apologize, but one signed with the Giants, one signed with the Dodgers. Both signed $300 million deals. Like, baseball, if you want to make money, that is your best bet to making, and it's all guaranteed, by the way. It's all 100%. We talk about guaranteed contracts in football. The Browns fully guaranteed Deshaun. The Dodgers fully guaranteed Shohei Ohtani for 2.5 times as much.
It's so crazy, McNuggets, because he's not talking about like just regular baseball players like that just had a uniform. Like you go back and you be like, look, the best people in the game. You talk about the Frank Thomases, the Griffeys, the Loftus, the Bells, the McGriffs,
Never
the
been a cooler player than
Tony
Ken Griffey.
Gwynn,
Yeah.
Dave Winfield,
Barry Bonds.
Like it's crazy. Ricky Henderson, Dave Stewart, like all these players. These are household names. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy how it's declined. And I don't want people to get it because a lot of times people say, man, why don't they just stop talking with the, why is there got to be a black-white thing? And I'm like, look, I get it because it seems like you guys are complaining and you got because I put myself in other people's position. They say, well, you got all basketball. You got all of football. Dang, let us get our money off. Right?
I mean, but like these conversations, these go both ways. Like I tell Mike all the time, it's only one reason why people won't admit that Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in football.
Right.
It's only one reason why they won't admit it.
Or Luka, where they be like, is Luka Doncic better? Yeah, he's better than everybody you got.
I think Jokic is the unanimous best player in basketball now.
And look how
and people were reluctant.
People was reluctant. I don't know. Charles Barkley only got one MVP. David Robinson.
They say it's a corner coming out this year. That's the next Jason
Cooper.
Sehorn.
I don't know how it's pronounced.
They say he's the next. Is he as good as Jason Sehorn?
He's from Iowa. Like, who the hell knows? But he's supposed to be a first-round pick, and he's not running at the combine. Like,
See, McNuggets, you perpetuating this. You perpetuating.
No, but apparently he runs like a 4.3. Like he's a crazy athlete.
You want to see it? You like?
Yeah.
You got to do it for us,
because
bro.
like listen, Iowa was unwatchable this year. Well, do you remember when Rashard Mendenhall put out that tweet and it turned the whole conversation?
Got him up out of here.
Yeah. Well, this guy was supposed to be the savior. It's like, all right, we have no cornerbacks. We have to make Christian McCaffrey play both sides of the ball. Well, now that's the white savior cornerback, and he's not even running the combine. So I'm a little scarred. But back to baseball for 1 second. In all honesty, Austin Hedges, our guy, Anthony Antonelli's doppelganger, shut all up yesterday. How about the 2-run home run? Ant, what'd you see on that pitch? Were you surprised it threw you an in-breaking fastball? Would that count? I mean, take us through it.
I hit the ball. It went over the fence. I smiled.
So Anthony Hedges, is that a sign of things to come for this season? Are you just now heating up?
Because Will Brennan was hitting yesterday too. Everybody was hitting yesterday. I really hope it's a sign for this.
They actually changed, real quick, not to get technical, I saw this on Twitter, but Brennan changed his batting stance. And so a guy I went to high school with played in the majors, a pitcher. Mm-hmm. And very minimal career, but he made it to the majors. Jerry Vasto played for the Rockies and the Royals. Awesome dude. So I texted him yesterday, and I was just like, explain to me why this is better or worse. And Brennan had his hands up higher last year. He's brought him down a little bit. And
into the zone.
Well, he goes, it's just quicker. He's like, I think he'll have less power. He's like, I don't know the guy. He's like, I couldn't tell you who Will Brennan is. But theoretically speaking, he should be able to get to the ball quicker, maybe more like double power, more pop, but less kind of home run power. And, of course, Will Brennan goes out, hits a home run the next at bat.
I got to laugh.
I don't know.
He got friends that's played the major league. He was the offensive lineman for 2 NFL running backs. Dude, I
got 2 Olympians from my town.
Like, what kind of childhood did you have? Like,
man, we don't got no connections.
Man, the fact that this man was an offensive lineman is still like mind-boggling.
That's why I hated playing football. I played 1 year.
I mean, this dude getting all the tickets. You see how they be? It's just like we be talking about, Earl. When we say we broke,
don't do this.
When we say we broke,
don't do this. I know
we really be broke. When he be broke, he be broke, he be like, I only got something in my savings.
No. See, no.
I only got savings right now. No, that counts. You ain't broke yet.
Yo, man, my grandmother used to tell me that all the time. I ain't got no money, right? And so then we'll go to church on Sunday, and I used to be the one that take the tithes and offer it up. And on the envelope, it'll have like $100.
Shut up.
And as I'm walking up to the collection plate, in my mind, I'm like, man, this woman told me on the way here she ain't had no money. This don't add up to me.
Steve Becker, I want the franchise tag next year. I want G to get the franchise tag too. I want Earl, Anthony, and Director Steve. We all deserve.
No, I need a long distance contract. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We gon' look. Hey, we know who here. I'm just trying to get Try to get this PTO off. We'll work on that next week.
And you guys super chat real quick, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick.
And,
All right,
we got
so
a minute or two for Black History Month spotlight at the end.
Ready?
You go.
Brody's bottom line for $5. DG is not the problem. Mobley is.
Ooh.
We was on Mobley too. Shout out to you. Me and Earl on the radio. We gave Mobley. We stripped his unicorn title. We took that away from him, and he played better. 20 some points.
He played well last night.
16 with
But
6 rebounds.
The thing with Mobley, it is similar with Darius, where they show flashes, and like Mobley's development's different because he doesn't generate offense himself, right? Like he needs
Right.
the ball to be passed him in certain situations. If he was on Charlotte, like Mobley could average 23, 24 points a game. You
Right.
see some of the moves that he's developed that he didn't have in his bag 2 years ago, but then you see a game against Philadelphia and he takes 9 shots. And it's just like you just want more because you know it's in there.
And we've been talking about he's really good help side. He's a good defender. He understands 5 blocks. Evan Mobley has the defensive ability that he should be getting 2 blocks a game.
Yeah, I agree.
He should be if you ain't gonna give me that, he should be dominating, giving me at least 2 a game.
And don't tell me that's not possible because there are plenty of guys in the league who are less athletic.
Yep.
And not as agile as Mobley, averaging way more blocks. You know, Wemby's averaging 3.25
That's
blocks.
crazy.
He's averaging half a block a game more than anyone else in the
And
NBA.
why is he not up for defensive
He
player
is.
of the year?
No, he is.
Like
He's in the
I want to see
conversation.
if they're not frauds and they really will stick by this. But he could literally be a 2K guy and get defensive player of the year in his rookie year.
I mean, the Spurs are so bad, I don't think he'll get it. But he's in the conversation on the second worst team in basketball. That alone tells you how good he's
How
been
good it
defensively.
is, right?
I saw a stat. Him and Chet Holmgren are the first 2 rookies ever with 153s, 150 blocks, and 100 assists in a season or something crazy like that. Dang. Yeah, it's absurd. He's crazy. He's special. You talk about unicorns, like that is what a unicorn in the flesh looks like.
Yeah, and he's aggressive.
He kind of has like a little edge to him
Like
in a way that you wouldn't expect by his demeanor. But
and
Chet Holmgren, he's kind of a dog too.
He's like, they're not thinking about it. And here's the thing, that's all we want. Like if we got to go on the radio and say y'all ain't doing what you're supposed to do, and y'all play like that, Jared Allen playing like that, like if I was Jared Allen, he playing like he Jared Allen look like he said I'm a max player. I don't understand how he's getting his money off. But
I think he's a top 5 paid center in the league.
Yeah, he is. But I mean, he's getting 20s. Like remember at one point in time, we was like, if we get 8 points with Jared Allen, we didn't clap it up. 10 points. I think Jared Allen out here playing like he's a dog right now.
Yo, I know he ain't paid for this, man. Shout out to Kenny Moss in the chat. McNuggets coach giggled at the other coach and said, watch how quick I get Skinny Boy to quit. McNuggets, you ain't no tackle. Am I Jay Reed? Boy, you ain't no cop, Jay Reed.
I told you, I got pancaked every play. It was miserable. I was like 52 pounds.
Because
it's a tiny town, there wasn't enough people.
How was you reaching people? What was your footwork all about?
It was hike the ball and get just I sucked. I was objectively, they ran the other way every time. My job was to just distract the defensive tackle from getting the back immediately. I was objectively horrendous.
That would have been.
This is every play. Ready? This is me. Hike. Every play. But at least the defense man had to jump over me then to try to catch Noah Sean or Donald Brown.
Your family came to see this.
You know what's the funniest part? So I played D-tackle too.
Oh my God! What the hell?
Very first play. We're playing Colts neck. My dad, mom, y'all come on, they'll attest. Very first play of the season. I fell on someone forced fumble. I fell on it. Fumble recovery. Only play I made all year. I didn't make another single play the rest of the season.
Dang. We're so shocked by that.
I'm just saying. That's why I didn't play football.
McNugget stands up. He gets bear palmed the first play.
Yeah. Well, everyone else was like 75, 80 pounds. I was 50 pounds. I had no chance.
So you was Kevin Green before Kevin Green?
Hey, listen.
If Kevin Green sucked as a 7.
Now what they should have done is they should have stood you
up. But
I'm
honest about it. I'm honest about it.
But if they would have stood you up and they would have said, McNuggets, here's what I want you to do. I want you to assume this is basketball, right? So you get in a stand up and you hit him with your best move. Hesitation, crossover, step back, whatever.
Maybe.
They would have had nothing for you.
But what's stupid is we had like 2 good athletes at receiver. But we didn't throw the ball a single time all season. So what the hell is the point of putting your two of your better, bigger dudes at receiver if you're never going to throw? So
Did you have a kid who could throw the ball?
We had 2 future NFL running backs in the backfield. And the kid was 7. Like, there's no way you're throwing the ball.
I needed this. This was a fun show. I wasn't going to say nothing, but I really needed this, man. Prayers to my baby brother. My baby brother was stabbed yesterday, and he's had 2 surgeries already, like just fighting for his life, trying to pull through. I told Mike yesterday, I said, man, I still want to come to work. I still want to do the show and lock in. I feel a whole lot better, and that's what happens when you're around positive people who do their best to love on you the best they can. So I love you, bro. Get better.
Prayers out. Peace.